Welcome to another edition of our Money Church, brought to you by the Black Wealth Rebels. Today we are talking about the top 5 issues or things that happened in the stock market and the economy in the last week. Today it's me and Jimmy. We are waiting for our brother Corey, but real quick we are going to run down what's going on Wall Street. Jamie Dimon's statement about cockroaches, regional banks, right? I think that's hilarious, by the way. Regional banks, Trump's China talk, his tough China talk that he had to walk back, and some profits between the pharma industry. But before we get into that, how you doing today, Jim?
Oh man, I'm doing amazing, man. I had an amazing day yesterday. I'm a little tired. I was up since early this morning. My little nephew's over here. He's only like 6 months old, and all he wants to do is watch Gracie. So I got all these Gracie songs stuck in my head.
It's Gracie.
But you're not familiar with Gracie's Corner?
Listen, I'm out of that phase of my life, so I am totally unfamiliar.
Listen, bro, you being the actual pro-black individual that you are, you would love Gracie's Corner. It's content made for the youth, right? But it's yes.
Okay.
But the kids absolutely love it. If you go online and look it up, you'll see kids who are like entranced by it. It's like all these little songs and diddlies or whatever. But he just wants to watch it on repeat. And it's also a genius business idea too, because I was looking at Gracie's YouTube channel and like a gazillion views, and I was like, "This is actually a low key a smart business." But that's all he wants to do is watch it. So I got all the songs stuck in my head. But other than that, man, life is amazing, man. You know, I woke up this morning, so I'm excited about that. Looking forward to having this conversation. And shout out to all our people pulling up live.
Shout out to everybody putting up live. I want to give a shout out to Jim. Yesterday we pulled up to the babies. We was at E9 Tabernacles supporting the Links Incorporated. If you're not familiar with the Links, it is an organization founded out of Philadelphia for Black women. It's existed for at least 80 years. They do a lot of great work. And we were there yesterday because they have this STEM Academy and their babies. Oh my God.
That was an amazing experience, bro.
Amazing. I mean, there's one young man that had me, Jim, and Corey just elated, so much because I forget what the question was, but he's an 11-year-old young man talking about government contracts, y'all. I don't even think I can really complete the magnitude of the time, or the moment. But he was like, yeah, I want to know about government contracts. Now they're awarding government contracts to Gaza and around the world and where the money's going and how to make money. And me, Jim, and Corey were just looking like, who is this kid?
Yeah, man. First of all, shout out to E9 for hosting.
Yep.
And E9 is amazing. E9 is an amazing place, right? If you've never been there, it's almost like their own little city. But the people are so friendly in there. Like as I was walking through, hey brother, it was like a certain energy that, I told Corey, I was like, man, like, this is super dope. But the kids themselves were like baby geniuses, and they were very smart, and definitely appreciated the opportunity to build with them. And it's go ahead.
And I want to say this, right? At one moment, I was really down on mega churches. E9 was the one that made me challenge my thinking about mega churches and the way that they do it in the Black community, especially through the leadership of Reverend Waller. I went to their church because they do a lot of Black stuff, a lot of African themed stuff. But one thing they do is they tithe of the tithe. So whatever money they take in, they make sure they get back out and they funnel it out to the community. Some people still have issue with that, but I still think it's dope because that was the first place I've ever heard about it. I've ever seen it in action.
And I know one thing, bro. You really bang with Reverend Waller. I've heard you say like glowing things about him several times. So that's you really like him.
Well, I'll say this, right? So y'all have heard me talk about growing up in the church and how my mother would make me go to vacation Bible school when I was like 16 years old. Shout out to Shelby, who's in the chat. Me, Shelby, and some of our other friends would be on the corner or on my steps drinking 40s, which we shouldn't have been doing. I don't encourage any youth to do that. But my mother would make me go to.
Question is, did you have what was it, Old English, or did you have what was y'all drinking? What was y'all drinking choice? Whatever y'all can get your hands on.
So first of all, we're not going to promote those brands.
No malt liquor. I just want to know what y'all was doing up Ogons. That's all.
It could have been Crooked Eye. It could have been OE. It could have been Coconut Honey. It could have been private stock. Man, me and Shelby was definitely there. Shelby might not remember this. We was drinking some Colorasi one time. That's not my look at y'all. That's wine, but I got major stories about that. I got major stories.
We gotta tell them behind the village, man, because this ain't what this is about, man.
No, but going back to the church thing, right? I grew up in church. I've never seen kind of what they're doing at E9. And I'm not a member of church now. I don't even consider myself a Christian because I think labels are beneath God's standard. But that's a whole other thing. Seriously, that's a whole.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the last comment that Jarrell said.
Jarrell with the slander. That's not why. That's not why my voice is the way it is. But that's funny, bro. That's funny.
You're drinking 40s at 16. That's why your voice is like that, bro. Morning to you, beloved. Morning to you. Morning to you.
Everybody. But yeah, like they really are about it over there. And there's other mega churches like that, but I've never seen that. And I appreciate that. Like, for example, I feel like me, Jimmy, and Corey at a mega church, we would definitely tithe at the tithe, but that's a whole other thing.
Absolutely. Everything for me is about, like, putting back into the streets and give it to the people. So,
right.
But I overall, the event was dope. The youth was super smart and super dope. And the dichotomy of being in the various spaces, right? Because just over this past year, we've been in multiple spaces, teaching, whether that's our Saturday school, our camp, whether that's the Juvenile Justice Center, whether it's this one here.
School, yeah.
Actual schools. Yeah, we went to a couple schools too. I forgot about that, right? So being in all these various spaces, and then I've been at a couple universities as well, and seeing people from all different walks of life, it's just further proof of what Corey always talks about. And we could build further on this probably in a different episode, but people's environment are everything, right? People's environment are everything, and you see it play out through the youth as they get to different spaces, man. So for the parents out there, watch who you have around your kids. If the environment literally dictates how they'll become as they grow. You know what I'm saying? So,
but I would also encourage parents to think about what they are intaking, right? Because children,
good point,
right? And then parents will say things that people don't even know. The children don't even know what they're picking up on. Well, people don't know what the children are picking up on. So, you are a great mirror. Your children are a great mirror. A great mirror of you. What's the saying? You can tell a tree by its fruit, or you can tell the roots by the fruit. That's very real. That's very real.
Yeah, man. Before we get started into today's topics, I also want to make sure that I shout out two things. The fact that our sponsor, I want to make sure we get them a shout out. Shout out to Supplement. Go to getsupplement.com and get you this beautiful water bottle, or whatever color you want. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so which water bottle is better? Is the yellow or the black, Jimmy? Because you're always saying they're my white supplement bottle.
So I like my black one better. I'm not gonna lie, I like my black one better. But you know what I'm saying? I keep two. So I got the other one, in the dishwasher and whatnot, because these are dishwasher safe, by the way. Yeah, I'm saying I'm using this. When I throw the other one in, you know what I'm saying? So and they got another bottle that I'm getting ready to try as well. So go to getsupplement.com. I want to bring it up. Also, the Deltas this Saturday, the Saturday coming up, right? So we're doing from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We're teaching a class with the Deltas, and it is free for everyone. They made it free for everybody, so anybody can come in. It's an original presentation that's never been seen before, and it's about scam proofing your finances, how to stay away from scams, man, because the scams are becoming ridiculous, bro.
Everywhere.
They're becoming ridiculous. They're becoming ridiculous, man. Anyway, with that being said, though, so that's kind of what we're going to do this Saturday. So make sure if you can pull up, support us. I want you to jump in the chat, let them know that you rock with us. So that's coming up this Saturday. November 1st is the next edition of our Saturday school. 108 East Price Street. We'll be in the building there, getting that done.
And we got a special guest, y'all. We're gonna have a HVAC business owner come speak to the babies. So it'll be dope. My man, come on.
Because one of the kids in our last Saturday school said he was trying to get into HVAC. So Camari jumped on the phone right away and was like, we're going to have someone, the next one, who actually does that. And that's kind of what the Saturday school is about. It's not just about classes on finance. We play the games and we have conversations, and we want to bring in people who are professionals to help the kids get to the next level. So that's November 1st. A lot more going on, man. Our nonprofit is set up. We got a lot going on in that space, and we got a special project that we We got a lot done yesterday on that too. So that'll be out soon. I showed you guys on Friday, bricks and Bitcoin, and I'm bringing that together. That'll be in the village first. Everything goes to the village first, by the way. So
we got two projects, man. Jeez.
Yeah, it's a lot going on, man. But it's all going to come together, man. It's all going to come together. I believe that leading into 2026, 2026 is going to be a magical year because one of the things we've worked on all year this year is kind of like institution building in terms of not just our organization but other Black organizations, making sure that we put our resources in terms of energy, time, and money into it, and everything's going to come full circle in 2026. With that being said, though,
hold on, Jarrell. Yes, that event is virtual. I encourage you all to join in.
Yes.
And when you jump in, Jimmy was telling everybody, say, I'm coming from the village.
That's right. So when you come in on Saturday, Paul, just say, yo, I come from the village, man. Like, that's open to everyone. It's virtual, but it's going to be super dope, right? It's going to be a great conversation because I think scam proofing your finances is something that we should be talking about, man. Because I often think some of this stuff that goes on, I see. Listen, man, I'm going to give you a true story. So, and I've talked about this on StackSats.Trying. Swan Bitcoin is one of the actual exchanges I use. I got a call from someone claiming to be from Swan, right?
Then I got to handle something real quick.
Go ahead, do your thing. I'll tell the story. Go ahead. So I got a call from someone, and they were telling me that they were from Swan Bitcoin, and I'm like, well, and it sounded mad legit. That the caller ID number said Swan, the whole nine. Make a long story short, they were asking me for certain, they weren't even really asking me for information. They were like leading towards something. I could tell that something seemed off. Funny thing is, because I talk so much about because I run my mouth so much about Bitcoin is almost like a community as well. So on Twitter, the actual CEO of Swan, we follow each other. And I shot him an inbox like, yo, what's up with this number and this, that, and the third? He was like, leave it alone. It was, it was a phishing scam. But I say this to say I've talked to people who actually work in cybersecurity, and they're even amazed at what's being done in terms of scamming these days. The thing about like all these different large language models and tools that exist, like when we see these new technologies and these new tools, we think about how they can make our life easier. But there are people out there who figure out, all right, how can I use this to steal from others, right? So the thing about scamming is the scams advance the same way technology does. So we have to stay on top of that. And what I'll tell you is trust no one and verify, right? If you come from the standpoint of trust no one, you really protect yourself, right? Never be in a rush to do anything. Because what tends to happen is, hey, you got to hurry up and do this or something. Just never be in a rush to do anything and don't trust anyone. Please verify. So I worry about like our elders in the community because when I talk to people in cybersecurity who are like, yo, I almost got. What does that mean for someone's granny or someone's aunt? You know what I mean? Or as we say, auntie. Like what's going to happen to them, right? So before we get into the topics, because we're going to talk about some topics of what's going on in the world of finance, though, I want to ask you guys, though, have you guys ever fallen victim to any sort of cybercrime or do they almost get you? Because it's becoming more and more prevalent. So we gotta really, really be careful when we dealing in all these digital spaces because we're on the internet all day, every day, right? So we live in a different climate in 2025 than we did in 2015 or 2005. So with everything being so digital, the scams have enhanced and become digital as well. So that's what's going on, man. But that's why that conversation we're having with the Deltas on Saturday is so important because in those specific spaces, one of the things running prevalent in a lot of big cities, and I saw some clips recently go viral about New York, are some of the scams being done with real estate in terms of people like stealing deeds and taking people's property and preying on their elderly in doing so. That's the thing about a lot of these scams. They prey on our elderly. So that's a problem. There's tax scams. People like calling you saying that they represent the IRS, and the IRS will never call you. You know what I'm saying? The IRS will never call you. But yet and still, people so that's why it says real estate. And then as the last part of that is about Bitcoin, right? And we talk about the scams that happen within the crypto space, all the rug pulls and all the things that people fall for with the prevalence of all these meme coins and everyone chasing quick riches. They end up getting scammed that way as well. So scamming is at an all-time high. We gotta like really stay diligent and stay ahead of what the scammers are doing. So like I said, with all that being said, this Saturday is our conversation about that. With that being said, let me get to these comments real fast while Camari handles what he handles. Shelby said he's checking in. What's up, Shelby? How are you? He said, Shelby said, listen, for those who don't know, Shelby is like Mr. TikTok. Shelby has mastered TikTok. He's on live TikTok all day long. Like, yeah, I don't even know how he does it, but salute to Shelby. Nicole, how are you? Appreciate you pulling up. You know what I'm saying? Honey Hustlers in the building. Emeka, how are you? Good morning, good morning, good morning. My grandkids love Gracie's Corner. Listen. Gracie has some sort of superpower because the kids love Gracie. I don't know if it's like the melodies that, yeah, it's something there though. We already talked about this, Gerald. Yes, it is virtual. And please pull up if you can, Gerald. Please pull up. Bashir's in the building, man. Great job, guys. Keep moving. Much appreciation. Appreciate you for saying that, man. Appreciate you for saying that. And by the way, if anybody's in the area, even if you're not in the area, if you have any organizations, youth organizations, schools, after school programs, hit us up. Like that's what we love to do. We love to be out in the community with the people. You know what I mean? I'm talking about these things. So, no Camari is Rich is in the building. Hey, Rich, you didn't answer me the other day. I don't know if you saw it or not. I was asking you, were you the one who told us to check out S.A. Cosby? I was trying to, somebody recommended S.A. Cosby to us, and Camari said that he thought it was you. I wasn't sure if it was you or not, but let me know if that was you that recommended S.A. Cosby, because I'm super impressed with S.A. Cosby. Like I said, I finished one book and I'm about a third of the way done a second book. He only has 5 in his bibliography. So, he's an author who's really just getting started, and I'm excited to see what he produces moving forward. But I've read King of Ashes, and matter of fact, I'll tell you the one I'm reading now for those who don't know. And S.A. Cosby is like a crime writer, but his books are super dope. And he's a Black author. And someone in the chat, I'm not sure who it was. Oh, I'm reading now. The one I'm reading now is called My Darkest Prayer. So My Darkest Prayer and King of Ashes are the ones that I read. The next one I'll do is All the Sinners Bleed and Razor Blade Tears. There's also another one called Blacktop Wasteland. That turns out to be the 5 books, but I'm not sure who it was. If it was you, Rich, I appreciate it. If it wasn't you, whoever it was, please show yourself. Yeah. So anyway, come on. I was just giving a couple examples of how scamming is at an all-time high, and we got to be diligent and be safe out here and really protect our elders, because that's what I'm worried most about. I think about like the my aunts and all those kind of things, and I'm like, man, it's crazy out here.
Listen, I'm worried about the elders, but you know what? I'm also worried about ourselves also, because the scammers are getting more and more sophisticated. It's like I keep getting these text links, like coming from so-called Amazon, and they look legitimate.
Yeah.
Really, like, look at some of the verbiage sometimes, but before you could tell because they might have what's the term, Jim? Proper verb tense.
Oh yeah. But now they got AI, so they kind of fixed that.
Yeah, but I'm worried.
Listen, one called me. Where the hell's we at? I was in the car with you last week or the week before, whatever it was. And one of them called me from
speaker. Yeah.
Yeah, from Google, and I like messing with them. So when I know they scam, I be messing with them. Like, man, FOH, man. Like, it's like when the people call with the real estate joints, like, I would like to buy your house at such and such. I waste their time, and the reason I do that is because I know as someone who's hired robocallers and all that costs you money. So I'm just, so I get in there and waste their time. Oh yeah, I sell, and then I tell them I want like $2 million for a house I know that's worth like 80 grand or something like that. Like I just I mess with them so bad, So
let me tell you about this one, that we can get on with the show real quick.
Yes, sir.
I got a call from the Department of Justice.
Whoa.
It's like, yeah, we're calling from the Department of Justice. I said, okay. Shout out to Apple. We got the new feature of call recording. I hit the button. I said, listen, this is important. Let me record this. They gonna come right away.
Shout out to Apple for getting that feature that I had back in 2009, but okay.
They was like, this call will be recorded. And I was like, okay, bet. They was like, oh, I'm going.
Yeah, I mean, salute to Apple for just getting that feature too. Yo, I heard Apple's getting a folding phone next year. That's the word, right?
You said you had it since 2009, right?
I'm exaggerating a little bit. It wasn't 2009, but definitely at least 10 years though.
Okay.
At least 10 years.
Listen, what I will say in full transparency, the one time I did have an Android, I was able to schedule text. And I thought that feature was so dope.
Oh, that's another thing that's been 10, 15 years.
Right. But now Apple now has it, and I'm so happy. So
No, it's funny though, right? Because I get, like, again, as someone who uses both platforms, and I'm not getting into this debate. It's one of those things where Apple likes to sit back, they don't innovate anymore, right? But what they try to do is they try to perfect like certain things, right? So their thing is about just being easy to use and clean.
Yep.
Because but Samsung and Google, they test things, like they test new technologies, right? So even with Apple saying they're coming out with their folding and flip phones next year, it's like, dude, I had it for, like, this point. This is the seventh generation of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Listen, being the first mover always isn't the best thing to be.
I know, and being late, they always is. So
What's the saying? The first movers always get arrows in their back. So
this is true. You know what's funny in life? What I recognize is, and it comes from me studying investors, right? So a lot of times I'll read books and biographies on some of the greatest investors, which I'll lead us into our conversation about what's going on in the markets. But I just finished listening to a Business Movers podcast. It was about Warren Buffett, but it was about how it was called like the Salad Oil King. It was about how this one guy's decision with salad oil kind of led to Buffett's career. It's an angle I've never heard told before, but it's also on Business Movers. And in listening to Warren Buffett, and I've read Ray Dalio's books, and all the names that you would know of, I've read their material, and it's funny because some of them completely contradict each other, but all of these guys have a level of success. And what's the Tony Robbins book where he talks to all the different money managers?
I know you're talking about, but I can't.
Is it called like Money Master the Game or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So if you listen to Money Master the Game, he talks to several different people who are in this space, and but what's interesting and what I'm leading to is everybody has their own perspective based upon their situation, and there is no one size fits all approach to not just finance but kind of anything, right? Because this what leads to this conversation is the Apple, Android, Samsung type thing. But what I found funny is these are both billion-dollar companies, right? Both things work. And the more I study everything in life, the more I realize is there's no one way to do pretty much anything, nothing at all. And we tend to try to just like look at life as being black and white. It's like either this or that, and life just doesn't work in a binary. You know what I mean? So anyway, let me go off my side. I'm just rambling at this point, but yeah.
All right, y'all. So listen, starting right out, Wall Street, right? Wall Street holds its nerves. All right. Wall Street closed up this week after Jamie Dimon said there's cockroaches that are at high risk. All right. But the S&P gained about 0.5%. The Dow's up 0.5 as well. And the Dow is about 0.5, about 0.5%. So the market's still up, even though we had a couple weird days when we got some announcements, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But the market's still holding on, even though everything is still crazy. All right.
I think the most interesting thing about that is the actual analogy, because I saw so many people online who didn't understand what he was saying. I was like, y'all ain't grow up in the hood, right? There's no such thing as seeing one cockroach, right? If you see one cockroach, it's not by itself, right?
Well, so that was point one, right? Point two is about Jamie Dimon's cockroach caution, right? So go ahead.
Yeah. So that's the first thing. Y'all don't know what that means, right? And what he's saying is like if you see one thing that's an issue, there's other issues that we just don't know about yet, right? So the shoe may drop, and one of the things that the biggest lesson from what we've seen over the last couple years, I would say, is that there's a difference between the economy and the stock market. People tend to look at them as being one of the same, right? Because a lot of times, like, stocks are inflated or being held up for various reasons, but it's not a sign of what's going on in the overall economy. So I think that's an important distinction too, to understand that difference between the market and the economy, because the market could be booming, but you get outside and you talk to the what do they say, Main Street
and Wall Street are not always the same.
Exactly, right? You see how people are struggling. And I just read a statistic yesterday that said that what's his face, car repossessions are at a high right now. So it's so many indicators letting us know that the economy overall is going through some ish.
So let me read the comment real quick, right?
Go ahead, beloved.
CEO warned that there could be cockroaches in the U.S. economy. Translation: if one credit problem, so the cockroaches are the credit problems, y'all.
Yeah.
There may be unseen debt trouble. All right. So that That's the thing that Jimmy's talking about, car repossessions. I also believe foreclosures are up as well. I believe I've seen. Have you seen?
Something else that I look at personally? I always look at where things are with Google searches, right? Bankruptcy it has spiked to its highest level since 2008 in terms of people searching for the word bankruptcy, right?
That's
so yeah, so I'm like, there's small things that let you know what's going on out there.
Shout out to the bankruptcy attorneys because they about to make a mint.
Now, hear me out though. I think there's something else to be said about this too, right? It's something to be said about more of us needing to be investors. Now, why do I say that? Because sometimes because Main Street and Wall Street are not always in alignment, what tends to happen is those of us that are, participate in the economy in terms of being in Wall Street, and it's going to sound sad, but when things go bad, we prosper, right?
Not sad. I mean, that's part of the overall market cycle, right? I mean, the famous saying that everybody misquotes Warren Buffett on, because it's not really Warren Buffett's quote. It's Baron Rothschild. When there's blood on the street, buy. Because there will always be booms and busts. There will always be ups and downs. There will always be ebbs and flows. And when things are down, if you have what we call dry powder or or credit, you can come in and get some assets on the low.
No, the reason I said it's sad is because, in my opinion, we live in a resource-heavy environment where there's enough for everybody to have. However, what I do understand is that because of a lack of knowledge or lack of access, a lot of people still have not gotten into spaces, which is why people like to ask me about, like, quote unquote financial influencers or people that teach finance. And I never really have anything bad to say because I feel like there's so much work to be done. No, to me, there's so much work to be done because sometimes we're in a bubble and we come on our show and we talk about these things. And it's like, a lot of folks that watch us are up on it. They're saving, they're stacking, they're buying property, they're buying stocks. But then when I get outside and I talk to people, I'm like, yo, people still to this day still have a lack of knowledge about what's going on. It's almost like the AI thing, right? Sometimes I'll play around with different AI tools to see how they work, see what the technology is. And I feel like, I'm so far behind because I have friends who've like literally pivoted complete. That's all they care about is AI. And I'm like, man, like y'all so far ahead of me. But then I get outside and there are people outside I talk to who still have never heard of what Chat GPT is. Forget all the other stuff. They don't even know what that is. So I say that to say, there's still a lot of work to be done in terms of personal finance. So, for those out there that are in that space, like, continuously do your work. Never feel like, there's enough of it, because again, in our bubbles, we see all the stuff on IG, we see all the stuff on YouTube, we see all the stuff on TikTok, whatever those things are. But when you get out in real, what we call Main Street, when you get out and talk to average people who are just like, just to get by, the quote, to live quality, they don't know how to start a brokerage. They don't know how to even save money to buy a property, right?
How to buy,
how to do anything. So, continuously do the work is all I'm saying. That there's a disconnect between Main Street and Wall Street.
And I think it's hard for us, right, Jim? Because, and sometimes to our fault, right? We think people know these things because we've covered these things a million gajillion times. I don't know how many times we talked to people that somebody doesn't know. I can't tell you, like close family friends are like, how do I buy a sock? Like, have you not watched my YouTube channel?
I swear on Teenage Black Jesus, I just had a family member ask me that for the last 2 weeks. Like, and the funny thing is, they know that I create the content, but I don't know what piece of content. I'm gonna tell you exactly what happens. Sometimes a family member will come to me after someone who they like will share something of mine, right? It's someone that like, you know what I mean? Like, they'll see somebody share something of mine. I'm like, all right, so he must know what he's talking about because such and such said it, right? Well, and then they call me like, cuz, always my cousins, by the way. I got a bunch of cousins. Cuz, how I buy stuff? How you buy stuff? Anyway.
But no, you know what? And I know this is a little off topic from our show.
By the way, real quick, Camari, I know that resonated with you because when I said that, you shook your head. So you've had that experience too, where
I have it all the time, bro. and so, and that's why I said we're a little off from the topic, but this is a really important point, I felt like, because we're doing this work, we're out in the street, and I don't think people realize it's how many different people we meet. Just for example, yesterday we're at my property. I'm showing Jim the renovations. We meet another real estate investor, right, out there doing his thing. And, you know, he wanted to talk to me because we're neighbors, right? And I wanted to talk to him also. But when you get to hear these perspectives, a lot of times, these are perspectives that your average everyday person is not going to hear. And so we can see like what's happening from the investors and the business folks who are making moves versus average everyday people who are kind of like sitting on their hands, watching and spectating and actually getting dirty and getting involved. And Jim's right. Ownership is the only way. And guess what? That doesn't even guarantee you anything, but I don't want to scare anybody, but if you're ever going to have any chance, you got to be in the ownership class. Ownership class.
Yeah. So, yeah, but I was just saying that based upon the first story we talked about, like the cockroach thing was interesting. It's interesting that Jamie Dimon used that analogy. And it was also interesting to me on Twitter. I was like, people were like, what is he talking about? I'm like, okay, y'all don't get it. But I agree with him. And you know,
they don't have a hood experience.
Maybe Jamie Dimon knew this in the trenches before. I don't know. But anyway, man, I do think there's a disconnect between Main Street and Wall Street. So more of us got to get in this space, man. We gotta start building, man. So, but I'll let you continue. What's the next story, beloved?
Topic three. Regional banks bounce back. So this is part of what Jamie Dimon was talking about. Regional bank stock dropped this week, but then it bounced back. All right. So Friday brought some relief. Strong Q3 profits from Truist. Truist Bank dropped earlier this week. Fifth Third dropped, and then they rebounded. Zion jumped 5.8%. Zion Bank and Western Alliance jumped 3.1%. Right. So regional banks. Right. Remember we talked about industries within the S&P 500. So that when industry jumped, regional banks jumped by 1.8% throughout the week. But it was a rocky week again because, you know, they're seeing credit problems, right? They're seeing credit problems and the street's starting to see it and they're starting to react. And sometimes the street reacts prematurely. Sometimes they are right. And this time they jumped prematurely, but then they kind of came and flattened out. So.
Yeah, man.
For the banks, when everything starts, the banks usually always lead the charge. From a bad perspective.
Now the joy is in Zion. But anyway, and for those who don't know, I think regional banks too are specific. It's something about regional banks too, because regional banks are where a lot of lending comes from.
Yep.
Operating in the real estate space, when people go to get capital for their projects. Okay, Camari.
For the Main Street, right? A lot of the regional banks. Now we see the JPMorgans and the Bank of Americas; those are for the big folks. But those regional banks, like Jim said, those are the ones who really help Main Street a lot.
Yeah, man. Listen, when I'm, you know, or for lack of a better term, when I'm in the trenches talking to the people that are, you know, buying properties in the neighborhoods and whatnot, most of the time they get their funding from the regional banks, right? From the Univest, from the Truist, from the Valley Greens, all these different, like, you know, smaller banking institutions. They put money on the street, right?
Yeah.
So we got to watch for them because, you know, think about it. They I don't want to say subprime because it's not really subprime, but they're willing to take more of a risk with their capital than some of the bigger institutions, than of a Bank of America or Wells Fargo, right? So that's why they're always a leading indicator of what's going to happen, because once those things start to default, the most interesting thing about the economy to me is it shows how everything is connected.
Everything.
And if you didn't learn that from '08, some of you may not have been around in '08 in terms of being in the markets, but you saw how everything is connected, right? How real estate, although it's its own sector, can have an impact on, you know, manufacturing and retail. Like all of these things are connected. So, you know, we're always looking for indicators and things that will give us a little bit of knowledge or data in terms of what's happening overall to see what's going to happen in terms of our economy in the big picture. But those regional banks are important in that regard.
You know what? Here's a homework assignment for y'all. Everybody should go up and look up the savings and loans crisis. Now that happened before '08 and '07. That happened in the '80s. But the repercussions of it still exist to this day. So everybody should go back, read up savings and loans crisis. I think you would get a great perspective out of what's going on. Or
that was a game changer.
Yeah.
Listen, it was a game changer for me in my industry. Everyone knows that, like in my day-to-day work, I work in the real estate valuation space, right? What people don't realize is even as a real estate appraiser, there was no such thing as a licensed real estate appraiser before the SNL crisis. People don't know that.
I didn't know that.
Before the SNL crisis, if you were a real estate broker, you were allowed to do appraisals as a broker. But a lot of what happened with the SNL is like, overinflated appraisals and things like that. So appraisals became its own profession. That was kind of like, and then we started adopting what's called the USPAP, the Uniform Standards of Appraisal Practices, came out of the SNL crisis. So I say all that to say,
wow.
There are a lot of things that people don't recognize, but that was, because everyone talks about 08, 08, 08, and you're the first person I heard bring that up in a long time. I forgot about SNL.
Yeah, but I mean, so it's funny, man. It's like family. Like a lot of times, I'm talking about Black families. We got these traumas that are hidden that nobody talks about, these secrets. But when you unearth them, they are mind blowing. And they're like, oh, that's why such and such is so crazy, right? Go back and look at the savings and loans crisis. That's a real big reason why a lot of things are crazy, right?
Hey, man, it's like King of Ashes, man. As I'm reading the book, I'm like, motherfucker's crazy. Then you get more information about like past traumas, and you're like, oh,
yep. That whole book was about past traumas.
Man, listen, I'm sorry, not sidebar. S.A. Cosby's fired though. As y'all can see, I enjoy the books.
So I was right.
No, you're still not right. You were right in saying that he's excellent, right? And again,
so Jimmy, on this date, y'all mark this date. What is today's date?
Today is the 19th.
Jimmy said Camari was right.
Man, listen. You were right to say that he was good. I still think you were tripping to say that he's one of the top 5 writers of all time after one book.
I didn't say that. I said he's in my top 5. Listen, I didn't say of all time. My top 5.
So you were saying
he ain't missed yet. And
but you don't understand how that can be a little bit hyperbolic.
No, it's how I feel.
You haven't even read all his books.
I've read more than you.
What, you read 3?
No, almost 4.
Almost 4. Almost 4. No, but now if you would have did that with a rapper, right? Like Stove God Cooks, by the way, his album comes out in November. I've heard snippets. It sounds amazing.
Okay.
But now if his album comes out in November and I say, yo, Kamar, he in my top 5, you would think that I was being hyperbolic.
No, because you like a lot of these, and this is Stove God or the other rapper you've been Larry June.
I love Larry June.
They're not quote unquote mainstream, right? They're not quote unquote even ghetto mainstream, if that's but they are doing great work, and so you like that space. So no, I don't think you're being hyperbolic.
Say that the top 5 of all time. All right, that's a whole story. Because I don't think this really is about books or music. If you listen to someone who you just got acquainted with and you're already putting in your top 5, I feel like you give it a little bit more time, let it digest. To me, it just comes off as hyperbolic. Now,
what you're trying to do now, you're trying to dim my light. I have foresight. I have vision. I can see to the mountaintop.
Yo, did you hear that? They were saying that Sora, what's the name of it? OpenAI is talking about banning the use of Martin Luther King because of how people have been using it in their Sora platform.
It's so disrespectful with the use of Martin Luther King. It's crazy.
I saw some wild jokes.
Some of it is hilarious, though, and I hate to admit that, but some of it's hilarious. But some of it is.
I think what's most interesting to me about that is like this tool, right? And you see what it can do. And this is where you decide to take it. I think that's the most interesting thing. Like,
all right, but we're in the church yesterday, so this is all going to tie in.
Yes.
And I forgot it was Jimmy or Corey. They asked, who y'all believe money is evil?
Oh, that was me. That was my bar.
That was you. Well, it's not a bar, but yeah.
Yeah, that's my bar.
Some of the kids said, yes, they've heard that money is evil. And we all know in the chat, we all know a lot of the misuses of that Bible verse. Because money isn't evil. It's the love of money is evil. That is the correct Bible verse. But it's been misused so many times. It's got a lot of people twisted up. A lot of the kids think that way. And that's the same thing that's happened with AI, right? Some people are going to use the tool for evil.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's big evil or little evil, it's evil. And that's going to happen. I mean, we all know that AI, right, especially with face recognition, skews negatively against black faces, melanated faces. A lot of times they say we are the ones who are doing crime, and I forgot the actual stat, but it's very, very damaging for the black community.
I got two thoughts on that.
Okay.
One ties into MLK too, right? So it all does tie together. Because MLK has an actual quote that I use often. I actually used it yesterday, and but it's an MLK quote, and he talks about the fact that the root of all evil versus it being evil. And MLK said that money is not evil. Money is a tool similar to electricity.
Yep.
It can be used for good or it could be used for bad. It could be used to light a room or it could be used to burn it down. Right? That's an MLK quote. Right? So that ties into that. And what else did you just say? You just said that you were talking about
No, I was tying it into AI, right? People are saying AI is evil. AI isn't evil. AI is a tool. AI is it's here. It's going to change the world as we see it. And a lot of times, black folks hate technology, so we think it's so bad, so we run from it. But it's a tool.
So I just got invited to teach a class in Alabama in March, right? And my whole class on Alabama is called, the title of this class is called AI is BS, right? Because I have some research and things I put together that everything we're looking at really isn't artificially intelligent anyway, right? It's replicating human behavior, right? So these large language models aren't necessarily intelligent. They're not learning. They're not thinking. What they're doing is replicating human behavior. So a lot of this is BS to begin with. But I still think that it's interesting, even with that being said, that it is a tool that can be used for good or bad. Like because that's the first things I saw is like Kobe, MLK, Tupac, like, and putting them in these crazy situations. And I'm like, my mind didn't go there. When I first saw Sora and saw what it was able to do, I was thinking about, oh wow, you can create content. Because sometimes you don't like to be in front of the camera. I like to write though. I'm like, man, I could write some stuff and have, but I never thought about, to Emeka's point in there, like MLK cutting NWO Wolfpack promos, like wrestling promos, which was I'm not gonna lie to you, I definitely laughed at that. But it's the or the joint where Kobe is in the chicken joint and they give him his bill and it's like 6'7", and then Kobe turns around and says 6'7". I'm like, what? Yeah, it's out of control. It's just really out of control. But that's also news that broke this week. They're talking about removing MLK, but then the argument is, well, if you remove MLK, are you also going to remove Rosa Parks? Are you going to remove Kobe? Are you going to remove because they only said MLK.
I mean, but here's the thing: they already got guardrails up on many of the AIs. Like if you go back to AI or ChatGPT's use during the presidential elections, they have banned a lot of that stuff. Since they have eased a lot of those bans, so it's happened already.
So that's a slippery slope too, though, because now who controls censorship? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if people start using you to finance Rebel and they have you out here like, shucking and jiving, will you have the same kind of like protections as MLK?
No. But listen, I want y'all, as we get to the show, we got 2 more points. I want to show y'all some AI stuff real quick, and I want to get your opinion on it.
Okay.
But the next thing, Jimmy's president was out here talking about giving China 100% tariffs. 100% tariffs, and that's what really sparked the waves of craziness this week in the market, and that's what kind of shook the market. But then people were like, wait a minute, because then he walked it back and he admitted that doing 100% tariffs on China isn't sustainable. So it's like, wait a minute, you didn't think about this before you said it? No,
yeah, he did.
He doesn't think about many things that he says before he says it. He just does it for the shock value.
All right, so 2 things here. First off, my president is David Palmer, right? So that's my president.
Who David Palmer is.
Look up. I'll go while I'll give you my second point. Google President David Palmer, because that's my president. My president is David Palmer.
David Palmer. Okay.
Yes. My second point is, so our perspective is a little bit different. You feel like he just says things. I think that he knows exactly what he's saying, and I think that it's a way to manipulate the market, because every time the market has a certain level of consecutive days of boom, he'll comes out with a tariff, it'll fall, and then he'll come back and kind of backtrack on a tariff, and it'll shoot up again. You can't tell me that.
So I think that's true too.
Yeah, so I think it's intentional, man. Like he's sitting out here running the bag up in our face. Because I honestly believe, and this is going to sound wild, I don't think he really cares about like a lot of the things that people think he cares about. I think he is strictly a capitalist and a narcissist who's running the bag up, and a lot of the evil things that come out of the quote unquote regime. I don't think it's him. I don't think he cares.
I think the one thing we can agree upon is that he only cares about himself and his wallet. So,
but I think, and that's his play. His play is, it's happened so many times. At some point, did you find out who President David Palmer is?
Yeah, so I didn't watch that show.
Okay, so
that's why, man. That's I think it was Allstate. Like,
no, yeah. So David Palmer was before Obama, by the way. Right. So David Palmer, David Palmer is my president, man. That's my president.
24. Okay.
If you go back and watch this season with David Palmer was a real one too. Like, you know what I'm saying? He was a real stand-up individual. So that's my president.
I'll have to check that out.
That's my president. And it's been my president since then. So, but yeah, the point is, that's the way I see it. I see it as market manipulation, because it's just so convenient. Every time we get all-time highs in a lot of different things, boom, a tariff comes out of nowhere, right? Market drops, and then it's like, that's not sustainable.
But there is a trade war going on. That is a real thing.
That is.
And all he's doing is making it worse. But to Jimmy's point, and so here's the thing, right? You got to be able to see the multiple angles of attack. And so I do agree with Jimmy, because his crypto coin allegedly has made him several million, if not billions of dollars already. So
I don't know how true it is, because, again, you can't believe half of the shit you see on the internet, but I read that it made his youngest son, worth 100 M's.
Right. So that's really him, because when I'm saying him, I'm talking about the whole Trump family and folks. So it's all correlated. It's all correlated.
I mean, listen. If you could, not saying you would do anything nefarious, but
I would not do it. Just saying it right now.
You didn't hear what I said. That's why I prefaced it by saying nothing nefarious. But if you can bust a play that will help your son get 100 million, right? Like, not that you would do anything to harm anybody or hurt anyone, but I'm just saying, like, and we talked about this yesterday, the idea of how people view nepotism.
Right. So again, this is where context. So what Jimmy's saying is right, but he put it in the context of Trump. So all his moves don't just help his son, it also hurts other people. And that's why I'm like, no. But yes, I would want my son to get 100 M's. If I could help him, I would. But not at the cost of 300 plus million, actually more than that, because the U.S. population is 300 million. Yeah. These things are reverberating across the globe. So we're talking about actions that are going to impact billions of people a lot of times.
I've seen people in my personal life, like, bust certain plays, like nothing illegal or anything, but like, make phone calls, do all these things to get their kid a job for 50, 60,000. And then tell me, like, I'm doing that because I want them out of my pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like,
listen, Jimmy's cult school that he loves to talk about, Central. Right. And that's no shade, right? But it can be very political getting in there. I know some people who made some moves. They get their people into Central, or at least get them into better positioning to be able to get into Central. So everything in life is political, sadly. Yeah.
It's interesting because someone was asking me the other day, when we were at the gala. We had the gala on Thursday. They were, they're like, "Oh, you're a Central person," and they were like, "What's your number?" Right? Being sarcastic.
That's the cult.
But what I was explaining to them is, it's interesting because going through the experience of going there, they actually kind of teach you that it's a network from day one. When they teach you about the number, they tell you about the fact that this school is more than a school. It's an actual network, right? And I heard them, but it didn't occur to me till later in life. And you realize how powerful and how valuable a network is in every and anything you do, even outside of that.
That's why the greatest asset you could ever build or create is a great network. That is, your network is your network. Even though it's cliche, it's so cliche. It's so real. It's so real.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's one of the reasons that we call our community the village. And one of the things why we try to cultivate real relationships are because you never know. Like there's people in our village who are in Georgia, in different states. I've sent business people's way. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? I've put money in people's pockets. I went to events in other states for people that are within our village. Like we really believe in that idea of a network, because to us, the network is more valuable than anything else.
Absolutely. Speaking of network, look who just popped in the chat. Our beautiful sister Liz is here. Welcome.
Liz, what's up, Liz?
We were just talking about you too, Liz. All good stuff. All good stuff.
All great stuff, man. All great stuff. I gotta post my pictures this past week. I told you before, bro. Like,
just send me the pictures and you didn't, but thanks again.
Which pictures? Oh, you did. You said, yo. First of all, get some sleep, yo. Get some sleep. So why are you sending me messages at 2 a.m. and 7 a.m. talking about, yo, send me them pictures? I'm like, dog, I'm not even awake yet.
Listen, if I'm thinking about it, I'm sending it. I'm not going to just sleep on it.
Oh, I don't care. I'm not one of these people who say, don't call me or don't text me after this. You can text me at 4 in the morning because listen, you can call my phone anytime you want to. And that's for anybody, by the way, because
No. Everybody can't call your phone. No. We got to safeguard that. We got to keep Jimmy safe.
I'm telling you why I say that, though. Because if I don't want to answer, when I go to sleep, I cut my ringer off. I'm not answering. So I'm going to see it the next morning. So it don't matter whether you text or call anyway. You know what I'm saying?
I'm old school. I do think that's a little disrespectful. Don't call me.
You know what I'm saying? You know.
At the 9 o'clock. All right, last story. Story number 5. Pharma and profits. Eli Lilly jumped because Trump said he was going to cut prices on weight loss drugs. So again, another thing that was impacted by politics, increased the market or increased stock for this market company with Eli Lilly. It's crazy, I think, but it just shows how political talk can swing the market.
It's also funny because he was slandering the weight loss drugs like last month. I don't know if you saw that one because that one went viral when he was slandering them.
I must say, listen, everything he says, right? And so it's funny, right? Even with TikTok, he was the one that started all this TikTok being shut down talk. And then now every extension for TikTok, because what happened to the buyers of TikTok?
Yo, peep this though. This is why I'm bringing up the slander of the weight loss drugs. Because I don't know if you missed this one. And he was talking about all these so-called weight loss drugs. He said, I don't know if they work. He said, because I got friends that tell me they don't, but they're still fat. I was like, he actually said that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, boy is comical. Did you see what when he was doing the Tylenol joint and he was trying to pronounce acetaminophen?
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh man. Anyway, man. So but overall though, when you talk about big pharma, right? And big pharma truly is big pharma. And I can say that because I've worked in big pharma before. The only private industry
more jobs than a Jamaican.
I've done it all, bro. I've done it. I'm Forrest Gump. No, but the only like really private sector job that I had outside of finance, I worked coming out of college at for Johnson & Johnson. And I've told you that before. That's because I learned all kinds of lessons about money in that space that had nothing to do with pharma. I learned a lot about stock working there. But big pharma is truly that. It's almost like between Eli Lilly and Merck and
Liz, I can slander you, love. I can never slander you.
No, what I'm saying is, so when those companies were struggling, they sit on war chests. So there was no doubt in my mind that, you know, they're going to have pops. It's the thing about business. And this is also from an investment standpoint, what I find interesting is that companies also go through cycles the same way real estate goes through cycles. But the good companies that are managed well, right? Because when you have someone who's a CEO, all the CEO is a steward, to be honest with you, right? It's why
not the top shot at a corporation for the right.
It's why our infatuation from an urban standpoint with the title of CEO is wild to me. It's wild to me. I see stuff online and it's like it's like we have an infatuation with titles. And I don't want to turn this into that conversation. That's a whole show about our infatuation with titles and not actual activity or results, but just titles. I've seen people take less money for a title in real life, right? But I say that to say, getting back to the pharmaceutical company in this conversation
I want to hear that story. Take less money from a title, actual job title.
Yes.
Okay, I thought you were talking about a real estate title. Okay.
No. I'm talking about, I've seen it in the workplace where someone can be like, you know, the vice president or this, that, and the third, when they could have made more money at a lower position because they, you know, either got more hours or more things, right? But it's a shift in responsibility. But what they're really after is the title. And I've seen people get tricked out of things by being given a title instead of money or equity.
But there's also something to that. There's a strategic play for that too, because once you get, let's say, VP or director or whatever, you can now apply for other VP jobs at other places. So they sometimes they'll take those short-term losses to try to get the longer term gain. But to Jimmy's point, a lot of times it's just a trick bag. It's all a trick bag.
It's all a trick bag. There is a such thing in management. You know what I'm saying? By the way, for those who don't know, I got a degree in management. But in management, there's a thing called the Peter Principle, right? And the Peter Principle states that a lot of people will get promoted in the workplace to their highest level of incompetence. And what tends to happen when people apply this Peter Principle is we'll put someone in this space, right, that they're really not qualified to be in, but it's this title. It's this idea of having these titles. People like executive vice president, like they'll take a title and turn down. What Beyonce didn't say pay me in title. She said pay me in equity.
Pay me in equity.
Pay me in equity. Keep your title. Give me equity. And a lot of times that happens too. I see it in like, you know what? Because again, another thing that could be its own show. I see it in professional sports all the time, right? Where we get excited about these certain titles and things, but we don't have equity. What's his face? Isaac Hayes III. Half of the content he makes is kind of saying the same thing that I'm saying now, right? Because he gets pissed about it. Like, and I understand why he's pissed about it.
Absolutely. And he should be, because his family has been impacted by being tricked out of some money, his father's legacy. And I'm glad to see that he got his father's patents and copyrights back so he can do what he needs to do for his family.
Yes. So pay me in equity. Keep your title. Give me equity.
All right. So listen, y'all, remember, out of the top 5, we're going to talk about some other things too, right? But how politics and money, they all dance together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't get caught up in the short-term blips. Like that's what we saw this week. Then we saw the market fall, then it came back, right? The question is, where's the market at year to date? And we're still up. So don't worry about the short-term falls. Sometimes they're opportunities. Sometimes they are a false signal. So don't worry about them. I would say keep saving your money, keep saving up your dry powder. So when some of these opportunities present themselves, you are well positioned to take advantage of them.
And I just want to add to that is why we always say this here.
DCA is a Chico. Hold on, y'all. I got to take this call real quick.
Take the call. For those who don't know what DCA is dollar cost averaging. That's when you take a certain amount of money, whatever money you can afford, and you buy your investments. And by the way, nothing to say here is investment advice. It's for educational, informational purposes only. But you buy it at whatever interval you can, whether that's every week, every 2 weeks, every month, every quarter, every 6 months, however you can do it. And you just set it and forget it. Because what tends to happen, markets will have their ebbs and flows. But if you're always, an accumulator of assets over time, you'll buy things that sometimes are high, but sometimes are low. And that will just help you to become someone that's building, as opposed to someone who's out here just hustling and trying to get rich quick. Because that's part of the problem. Part of the problem is people try to time the market, and that's any market. That's real estate. That's a stock market. That's Bitcoin, right? As opposed to figuring out what asset works for you, what asset you want to acquire long term, and you just dollar cost average it and go mind your business and figure out a way to increase your dollar cost average. If we just set up a dollar cost average on an asset that we believed in, but then spent the rest of the time working on our skills, working on our network, working on our opportunities, and just got more money to add to the DCA, over a period of time, you'll be ahead of most people. You know what I'm saying?
Well said, sir. Well said, sir.
Thank you, sir. Everything good over there, man? You good?
Yeah, just somebody calling me at the spot.
Okay, I thought that. I thought you had some tenant issues or something, man. You know what I'm saying?
No. I've been good so far. Only the one issue. Speaking about network being your net worth, I'm running into an issue right now where my good brother Jimmy, he slanders me all the time, but I love his bro. He's helping me out with a situation right now where I got some nefarious, trifling ass tenants who ain't paying their rent all year long. And they're very disrespectful, very opportunistic. I'm definitely taking it personal. I know Jimmy's probably looking at me like, this dude's always taking something personal. But I explained the situation to him, and he's seeing some of the stuff that's going on. Like, listen, my time is everything. You're wasting my time.
You know what it is, though? For me, sometimes what I see is people have, it's like audacity, right? Yeah. The audacity that certain people have, right? it amazes me. It amazes me the audacity that people have. I think that's what it really is, right? So that's kind of what it is. But
But
it.
I'll share this, right? So my father, many of y'all know I've done property management for many, many years. That was really through my father. I don't really like property management. But I'm in a situation now where I was helping out a client that my dad had for over 40 years, manage a property. They haven't paid rent since my father has died. I was like, okay. So now technically the law has changed since my father was a property manager, but he kept doing it, whatever. I can't technically be a property manager unless I am a licensed agent with a licensed broker who would do it. Guess who has that affiliation, recommendation, all the credentials? My brother, Jimmy Williams. So he's helping me out with a situation with 2 disrespectful past tenants. And I say that because I mean that, because I believe they stopped paying rent just because they wanted to get over because my father passed. And that's nasty work. But
it's definitely nasty work, man. And it's funny though, because property management is something that's not an easy thing.
It's not.
I'm a weirdo, right? Because I got more degrees than a thermometer. One of my degrees, I actually have a master's degree in real estate property management, by the way. And in doing that, you realize that it's both an art and a science. But we're gonna get at these folks though. We're gonna make it right.
I am fine with doing the work of property management, meaning like making sure the maintenance is done, repairs are done, things like that. I'm so cool with that. It's the human aspect of it that many times I fail at, and I have failed at a lot of times, because tenants will try you. And Mecca asked a question: is your state more of a consumer tenant state or landlord friendly? I would say it's more of a consumer tenant state, but that's nuanced too, because part of the reason why it became a consumer tenant state is because of so many slumlords really messing it up for the community.
It is nuanced. And what I will say, my answer to that, Emeka, is it's really county to county. So in Philadelphia County, where we are, Camari used to be, because he moved to the burbs on us. But anyway,
still there.
You know what? You do own multiple commercial properties in the county, so
that's everybody's watching. But go ahead, man.
So with that being said, though, in Philadelphia County, it's more on the consumer tenant side, but there are other counties outside of Philadelphia that will be on the other side. So a lot of the people that I know, like one of my brokers I was speaking with, he was telling me how he's moved a lot of his portfolio into the county for that reason, because he tends to get like faster and better results in the county than he does inside of Philadelphia. So from a state standpoint, it really depends upon where you are. And for those who are not from Philadelphia, a lot of people don't know this who aren't from Philadelphia. It's interesting having friends all over the world, right? Because Philadelphia is the big city in the state of Pennsylvania, and Pittsburgh is probably the second biggest city. So a lot of times we say that you're in Philadelphia, you're in Pittsburgh, and the rest of it we call Pennsatucky. And the reason we call it Pennsatucky is because outside of Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, it gets a little dicey out here in Pennsylvania.
That's an understatement. That's an understatement.
And also what's funny is, I'm gonna tell you what's really funny, right? So what's funny is, it's funny because you've seen all the videos that go viral about what's happening down in Kensington and that part of Philadelphia. And I always find it funny when something will happen down there and a family or friend out of state will call me and say, "Are you okay?" Like, they feel like all Philadelphia looks like that. It's somewhat comical, right? I get it. You're not from here, you're not around here, so you only see what goes viral on the internet. There's some beautiful parts of Philadelphia. Like, I don't deal with any of that.
It's funny, me and Jimmy were just talking about that because we were down in Kensington. We were going to an event. Kensington is now changing.
Yeah.
But some parts of that is very sad. But in Philadelphia, especially the black side of Philadelphia, well, actually probably both sides, the black side of Philadelphia, because Philadelphia is one of the most segregated cities in the country. But some black folks don't go to certain sections. That's not a part of our normal travels. Not like we can go there, but we just don't go there. And Kensington, from the side of Philly me and Jimmy are from, we typically don't have to go there because all of the other things that we need are or the side we're from.
So I'm watching online just like y'all, like, oh, that's crazy to let that happen. Like, yo, it's funny because you're talking about how part of like Kensington that they're making Fishtown bigger or what have you. It's funny because the Amina's restaurant is down there now. It's right off of Germantown Avenue now. So it moved from Chestnut Street. Remember we were over Chestnut Street? I was like, that's the old Amina's building. Amina's actually moved. They're down there now, and their new space is beautiful. I was there this past week.
So
shout out.
You ain't tell me about it because we just went.
No. I didn't bust a grub. I'm gonna give Felicia a shout out. So when we had the event on Thursday, for the gala for Inspiring Minds, Felicia donated dinner for two. She gave me the cards, so I had to meet her down there to get the cards. That's why I went down there.
Okay. So
I want to say thank you to her again because that was super dope and to help us raise money for the organization. But she looked out for me. So
nice. All right, so let's get back to
speaking of network again, right? That's network.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need a new down there. Network equals wealth cheat code.
All right, Jimmy, that's a bar. More degrees than a thermometer. Yo, yeah, you should make that shirt for yourself, bro. These do you have, man? Like 10?
No, I don't have 10, bro. I probably got a good 5 though, 4 or 5. Like I got an associate's degree. My mom used to joke with me. She said, "You love school," and part of that is true. I just told y'all I'm going back to school. I got accepted into the University of British Columbia. I start in January. It's a certificate program though, but I'm adding more credentials. But it's really I do enjoy teaching, and even what I do in terms of real estate and all that. I consider myself an educator. I don't consider myself really a business person per se. I'm an educator, and I just actual teachers just don't make enough. So
that's a fact.
What's the Drake bar? Drake say I'm the only teacher that gets paid what he's worth. Because he say according to him, he's out here teaching y'all. So
So real quick, y'all, what have y'all seen this week in the markets and business and life that y'all found interesting? Throw that in the chat.
Or the ratchet side of Instagram. You found anything there? You share that with me too.
Oh Lord. I can't do this with you
today. It's a balance, bro. It's a balance. I love ratchet memes as much as I love educational and spiritual things, beloved.
No, you don't. You like him. Listen, Jimmy has a residence in where I call the niggaverse. It's his vacation home, but he goes there like every week.
I only find that extremely hilarious because I feel like you spend more time than any of us there, but you do it differently.
No. I'm niggaverse adjacent.
Yeah, that's what you like to tell yourself, bro. But I get a lot of clips from you, and it's like, you spend just as much, if not more, time than anybody there.
Listen, man. Listen.
That's what I found funny about it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean,
listen. I learned about 304 TikTok from you.
Listen, so I just saw that in passing, man.
Of course you did. I didn't even know that was a thing.
It's funny. Do y'all all know what 304 TikTok is?
Camari will teach you because he put me down. Like I didn't know that existed. Here I am thinking TikTok is more wholesome than the rest of them, and find out TikTok got a whole underbelly.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, look, and put you out there too. You got your AM show is all ratchet, all travels diverged. That's the only universe y'all be in.
And I need you to give me my props though. So yes, the show with Michael Sean, Fearless, and Jay Black, we have fun on there. I'm usually on there on Thursdays. I'm only there to talk about money. So I'm kind of like Dr. Mark Lamont Hill on Joe Budden's podcast. I'm just there for one thing, I just get drugged down. It's not me starting all that stuff. All right, so Ann says, Mari, you on the AM Ratchet show are full of niggadisms.
Yeah, man. See, I didn't know TikTok had an underbelly because that led my algorithm to go to all kinds of places, right? Because my up until that point, my TikTok algorithm was like wholesome. You know what I'm saying? I was watching people, give away money.
Well, what's funny is Jim's not lying when he says that. He says he goes on TikTok for peace because it was just all Keith Lee and some of the other, what was it, Auntie Tabitha Brown.
Yeah, Keith Lee, Auntie Tabitha. It's the pale gentleman who be like, "Hey, I'll give you this basketball if you do that." And next thing you know, he's giving away money and tickets to a concert. That was my TikTok algorithm. It was all apple pies and smiles. And then Kamari's like, "Yeah, you never heard of this?" Next thing I know, I'm like, ho, how I end up here? How I end up at the Piccadilly?
And for the Piccadilly, for those who are not from Philadelphia, those are where the young ladies will be at with bullet holes and voluptuous bodies.
Bullet holes and voluptuous bodies.
And my,
It sounds like an IG page or something. You sitting on a gold mine with that one. Fine. Bullet holes and voluptuous.
All right.
You out of pocket, man.
As for market terms, it's watching the value of gold go up once. Gold and silver, by the way. The value of gold go up once again. And I think about Jimmy talking about the buying gold back in 2020.
Hey, I appreciate that, Liz. And that's one of the great things. So it's funny. I was just having this conversation with Courtney because in my Facebook memories, right, I kept having like pictures and events and things that, you know, me and Tracy, something popped up for me and Tracy from like 15 years ago, right?
What did I show you yesterday?
Yeah, and I was telling Courtney, I was like, yo, the actual Facebook memories is a gift and a curse because sometimes it's a little triggering. But also I see stuff like that. Like I got clips of me in 2016 telling people to buy Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is like $600 and people in the comments laughing at me. Right. So that's in my Facebook memories. I got Facebook memories of me telling people about, hey, our community needs to get into gold and silver back in 2019, 2020. And it's like, you know, but so that's the good thing. You get to see, you know, and by the way, it's not, I said it's the gift and the curse because sometimes you can, you know, be wrong about something too. But you know, but I appreciate that, Liz. I love when you know, people acknowledge that we've been doing this work for a while.
A long time. We're not gonna stop either. We're not gonna stop.
Never.
I might slow down though, because I got a homegirl of mine who's buying property in Jamaica.
Whoa.
All that. I think you met Tiffany too. She actually moved to Jamaica from the United States, and now she's thinking about buying property down there and developing down there. So
which part?
That I'm not sure of. I gotta get up on that. But
Jamaica is my happy place, specifically Negril.
Okay.
Like I like Jamaica, but Negril got something magical with it, yo.
I haven't been yet, so at some point I'll go.
The energy in Negril is something different, bro. Negril taught me that I'm looking at life wrong, right? Because, you know, I'm from a big city. So when you live in a big city, you deal with big city problems, big city issues, and you're always hustling and bustling and moving fast. And then you get down there, and I met people that like live off the land, and they're the happiest people in the world. And they're not thinking about some of the things that I think about. And I'm like, I'm doing it wrong. So shout to Negril.
All right. So Liz says also, everyone trying to time the crash of the market, where some say we have until 2027. And for some reason, I don't think we have that long. Listen, you will never really catch a crash. If you know when it's coming, it ain't a crash.
I feel like if you do catch a crash, you cheated somehow. You should be going to jail soon after.
Well, yeah. Or you got super lucky. You got super lucky.
Yes. I got lucky in 08 though. I got lucky in 08. That's why I make the joke all the time that, you know, the old saying that God looks out for fools and babies. That was me. I got lucky because I sold out of a bunch of stuff. It had nothing to do with me understanding the complexities of what happened in 08.
You're talking about your property, not the market.
No, I sold a bunch of property off. I sold a majority of my portfolio off before the big crash in 08. Before Lehman Brothers and all that, I sold most 90% of my portfolio off. So I was really in the process of reorganizing. It had nothing to do with me understanding what was happening. I just got lucky.
So you sold at the top of the market.
I wouldn't say the top, but it wasn't it was like right preceding when everything was like getting ready to go down. So the market did take a huge drop when Lehman Brothers thing happened, but you could see like a little bit of the stuff happening. So it wasn't the very top. The very top probably was like into 06, early 07. Yeah. So yeah, it wasn't the very top, but it wasn't. I could have got really hurt like some folks did, and you know, some of them left real estate altogether and went to the church. But you know,
that was a time though to stay in the real estate though, because there was a lot of deals that were made after that for folks who didn't have. I mean, for folks who did have cash and did have decent credit. Yep.
Yeah. So.
Oh God, here's the slander. You see the slander?
I did. I was ignoring it, but I did.
Listen, Camari's favorite person from Earn Your Leisure is predicting 2027. Yeah, I'll just leave it there.
No, I'm just saying. So the thing about it is, it could be 2027, could be 2026. You know, people have a prediction. The great thing about predicting is this, and I laugh at this all the time, and I always think about Robert Kiyosaki with this, because Robert Kiyosaki is predicting a complete meltdown in the market to go away, but he's been doing that for a long period of time.
That's 20 years.
One of the things I learned from my brother Diamond Dave is he said, if you're in a public space and you're a bear, right, and you talk about things falling, You only have to be right once. And people will ignore the fact that you were wrong 4,000 times if you're right once.
Think of Dr. Doom himself, Norio Rubini. He's been calling for a crash for like the last 50 years. So
yes, that too, right? But
right
listen,
once,
the fact that people are willing to put their name behind stuff, like more power to them. But I just, for me, I don't even think about that. I just think about what's the game plan overall, and it's why I'm so passionate about like us owning land and also being active in paper assets as well, is because one of the things about the land, right? As long as we have the protections of the law to, and then we talk about the fact that
that's
fair or unfair, we protect property rights in this country sometimes even more than human rights, right?
That's that for me, that's the scary part about that, because we are seeing rights in general being eroded. And so the question is, who are these rights going to be in place for?
So that's why I give you that caveat. As long as we have the laws that protect property rights the way they do, land will always be an important part of whatever we do, because worst case scenario, man, like I can buy 1,000 shares of General Dynamics, right? If the ish hits the fan, I can't use those shares to make me some food, right? You can literally use your land and get food, but that's a whole other story.
I want y'all to know Jimmy just threw a slander at me, but it's okay.
That was not slander, bro. It's the first company that came to mind.
Yeah, because y'all know I talk about that company.
You love the company. No, listen, there's nothing wrong with that. But you love General Dynamics, so whatever company you want to put in that place.
Favor for it though, because my daddy was dollar cost averaging into it since 1973.
That is the most legendary story from your father that you've ever told me. You told me a lot about your father and his triplex and his real estate, but I think that's the most like impressive story. And the reason I always think about that is because no man in my family, and I have uncles and fathers. My godfather is a legend to me in my eyes, right? So I have a lot of powerful men, but none of them were really into the stock market back then. And I got a lot of OGs in my neighborhood, and a lot of them knew about real estate. Most of the OGs in my neighborhood was always, all of them was trying to buy a bar, but that's a whole other story.
And
but I didn't get off that powder. No, but that's what they knew though, right? But what I'm saying is,
well, get out that powder and get on.
No. yeah. That the moisture came with that. But listen though, but the point I'm saying is, your father to be into the markets as a black man in the 70s, to me is like, wow. It's like, wow, that's crazy. That's crazy, because I didn't have that experience. Now I had the real estate experience. And I was telling you a story yesterday about like my mother-in-law and just like the elders in my family. The way the elders in my family looked at property, it makes me take a step back and also like give myself a pat on the shoulders, because the elders in my family, if they own their property, bro, they were proud of it. They were proud of it.
But that's the ownership mindset, right? Because ownership is bigger than just owning paper or land. It's also a mindset.
But it's funny though, man, because in our peer group, I talk to people in our peer group and they've owned property 15 years. And it's like, they want something bigger or better. They're not satisfied with what they have. And sometimes I'm like, yo, take a step back. You actually own your building. Like, what are we talking about? Like, it's
I get that too, because I was thinking to myself, do I want to move to something bigger? Like I'll be honest, I would love to have a family compound. And when I say family, that doesn't just mean blood relatives.
Mm-hmm.
We got a compound with a nice piece of land, a nice house, that also something we can protect and build a fence around. And just almost insulate ourselves from a lot of the bullshit that's floating around.
So I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting more. That's not what I'm saying. And I know that's not what, I know that you didn't take it that way. I'm just saying in general, I want to make sure I put this on the record. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with wanting more, but I think sometimes we have to take a step back, specifically our peer group, and acknowledge the fact that we are doing it, right? So we run businesses, we own land, we do these things. And sometimes we got to take a step back and realize that, because we're so caught up in wanting more and doing more instead of acknowledging the fact that, we've actually accomplished a lot. And when I speak to like my elders, like I have family that own property in the hoodest of hoods, but it's paid off piece of property, and you can't tell them that they haven't accomplished anything, right? Because like you can do whatever you want to do, but I bought this property, right? So the way they look at property versus how we look at property is different.
So Liz is in the chat dropping bars. So wealth is in the land and resources. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's funny. Many years ago, I knew a lady who owned some land. I believe it was in South Carolina, and she would sell the trees when she needed some bread. Every couple of years because she had so many trees on her land, and also replant trees for later on. But some of the money she was taking down just for cutting a couple of trees. It's crazy.
Listen, man. In the words of Erica, Classy Climb, she says all roads lead to real estate.
Yeah. So Liz also says we have lost the art of staying put and not confusing it for settling. So
that is a bar. Hold on, I gotta quote her on that. She gave me something. I gotta put this on Twitter. I'm gonna quote you, Liz.
But I tell this to a lot of my real estate investor friends because I tell them buying deals for them is like crack. It's not about how profitable it is. It's not about strategy. I said strategy.
strategy.
The strategy of owning land, what it's going to do is like you just want to do the deal, and I get it to a certain degree.
I've been there before. I know what that's like.
Right, because it's adrenaline, right? And I said, y'all got to get off that crack because your books are a mess. You don't have a good great cash position. You don't have a great credit position. You need to just sit still, sit on your hands, and let your money pile up for a little bit. But
that's difficult for people not only in real estate but the stock market too, right? And I've been there where you get an adrenaline rush from going to the settlement table, like, and I've bought bad deals because of it. Anytime I've been in that space, that hasn't worked out well for me. Being more strategic and just taking a step back and not doing anything is kind of what works well for me. It's almost like when I teach people about the stock market and they start to build the portfolio and then they say, all right, so now what? So now sit on your ass and then and watch the money pile up.
I beautify that property. Liz also says, but also owning something free and clear is the goal. How do we invest in new equity into the hood/ghetto, make the area better? Yeah. I don't know if I totally agree with free and clear is the goal though, because to get the equity out, it usually costs or something. But I agree with the larger premise, right? You want to own it, you want to secure it, you don't want to lose it, and you want to beautify it. So yeah.
All right. So this is a debate that me and Camari have been having about free and clear versus that, and we said we were going to do a show on it.
It's not really a debate though.
All right, here's what I'm asking you though. Can we have this conversation? And Liz, can you come on Friday at 7? And can we have this conversation Friday at 7?
I want to have that conversation in person though, honestly.
Oh, you want to do a live pod?
Yeah, I want to be able to talk to Liz right there because again, I think it's a great conversation. And so Jimmy's talking about not to bury the lead, the 10 doors free and clear versus my goal of 50. But yeah, I would love to have that conversation. All
right. So Liz, when can we all get together, man? We can get together and record a live pod.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm asking you when you want to do it.
I'm always around. Always around.
All right, so let's pick a day. Let's do, you know what I'm saying? You do a weekend, weekday, whatever you want to do it. Let's pick a day, pick a place, pull up. I got the equipment. And we can, He
don't got the equipment. I got the equipment. He got some.
We recorded 4 pods yesterday. What equipment did we use?
Yes, but all the live.
Now to answer the question. Don't just answer the question.
You're not going to trap me like that, sir. You're not going to trap me like
answer the question.
Who live streamed the camp?
You did.
And whose equipment was that?
Ours.
Mine. So who got the equipment? Mark.
No. My question is, we recorded 4 pods yesterday. Whose equipment did we use?
I already answered that question, Jimmy.
You didn't. You ducked out of answering the question.
It says she's clear. My schedule let me know. All right. Let's say, tentatively, let's say. So do you want to do this in place of Friday show, or you want to do it separately? I would like to do it separately, honestly.
And we can do it separately the Friday show. I'm just saying, so next Saturday we got the Deltas event. That's from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. If you want to do it after that, we could do a Friday afternoon somewhere. Just tell me where.
You mean Saturday afternoon?
So I'm sorry, Saturday afternoon after the Deltas event. If you want to do it then,
let's say Saturday afternoon after the.
All right, where at? Where you want to go? You want to go up to?
No, we got to figure that out.
Okay, all right, Liz. We'll let you know. We'll jump in the group text.
Right. Saturday.
If you're free Saturday, let's say after 2, because Saturday after 2, because we got 10 to 12. By the way, Can you share that again, Kamari? Because before we get out of here, I want everyone to know Saturday, it's open to the public. This is open to the public, and salute to the Deltas for allowing us to be open to the public because they didn't have to do that. But the Frederick County, Maryland alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated has invited us to do a program. It's called Scam Proof Your Finances. We're talking about how to avoid scams, and we want you guys to pull up for this. It's from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And, we're going to have a great conversation. We're going to talk about Bitcoin, taxes, real estate. And this is very important because we're living in a time where folks are coming after us. They're coming after our grannies, our aunties, and we want to make sure they're all protected. So please, if you can, next Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., pull up. Saturday after my housing event, but I got y'all. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so the housing event is on the 26th. Where's your housing event at, Liz? What time is your housing event?
I'll say because we might try to pull up for that too.
Hey, pull up right at the housing event. Let's do it at the housing event. I don't know what time the housing event is though.
I was just free at the 3. What up, Jigger? Okay. Happy birthday to you again, brother.
Yeah, man. Salute. Happy born day, beloved, man. You reached a milestone for black men. A lot of black men don't make that milestone. So happy born day, beloved.
Absolutely. And Liz, quick question. Me and Jimmy were having a conversation about you yesterday. Are you a Delta? Jimmy said Jimmy believes you are. I wasn't sure.
I said I don't know what Liz is in the sorority. So I was trying to figure out. But the other question is this though. I was having a conversation with Camari yesterday.
Oh boy.
And he was talking about, someone, one of his tenants had passed away. And he said, yeah, but she was we can pull up our BRG. He was talking about one of his tenants passing away. He said, yeah, but she was 70. And it occurred to me.
That's not what I said.
You said she was 70, bro.
I said she was close to my father's age.
I thought you said 70 because that's how the whole idea of 70 came up.
I said she was over 70.
Over 70.
Because one of y'all thought she was like a teenager or in the 20s or 30s.
Well, we didn't know how old she was. You said over 70.
Yeah.
All right, so that's how we got to the 70 thing. But it occurred to me in him saying that several times when someone passes away, if they're like 70, there's like a whole different response. It's like, oh yeah, but they were 70. I don't know what it is about the age 70. Even if someone is 69, we say, man, they were still relatively young. But once they hit 70, it's almost like, yeah, well, they lived their life. Like it's like less sadness when someone passes at 70 for whatever reason, right? I don't know what it is about the age of 70. And what you said, which was kind of scary in response to that, you was like, well, the average black man only lived to be like 64. And I was like,
listen, I'll be transparent with y'all. Since my father passed, I am thinking about mortality and death all the time. I'm thinking about making sure I got everything together. Because again, 64 is the age. My father passed at like 79. It's like, all right, well, shit, can I make it at least a 79? Because again, that whole 64 to 79, my dad was able to beat the odds. It's like, but a lot of us aren't able to beat the odds. So will I be able to beat the odds too? So it is something I think about. It's something I think about, as being honest.
Yeah, it's interesting to me though, because I've actually already outlived my father, and I think about that because, like, life for me has never been better than it is today.
So right? So I'm not crazy. You've had those thoughts also.
Absolutely. When you lose people close to you, when you lose losing a parent is traumatic, right? Which is why, and salute to, and my heart goes out to anyone who's ever lost a child, because I can't imagine that pain, right? Because even when you lose a parent, that's still the natural order of things. Losing a child is something different. So I never, when people lose children, that that hurts. I can only imagine what kind of pain that is. But when you lose people close to you, it does make you look at your mortality. Even when you lose peers close to you, right? It's the reason why when someone passes, like someone you went to school with, or somebody passes, the first thing you want to know is what happened. That's really about you, and you really think about it.
Yeah,
because it makes you look at your mortality a little bit different. And the one thing none of us are promised, which is why, I have a perspective of, I'm happy to wake up every morning. You know what I'm saying? I got a friend, Neef, and she's funny because she's always super excited. Like, she could be going completely wrong in her life, and I say, "How you doing?" I'm amazing, right? And that, I understand that energy, because when you start to get up there in age, you start to look at your mortality, and you start having friends that pass. I'm in a space now, in my age now, where my friends' parents are passing away.
Yep. Yep.
And they're either passing away, or now I have friends who are taking care of their parents. They're becoming their parents' caregivers, and that's like a weird space too.
Yes, and I'm in both of those. So it's funny because we go through these stages of life, right? When we were in high school, we were all planning to go to college or prom. Then it's like, boom, you graduate college or you get a job. Then everybody kind of gets married. Your friend group always kind of get married together. And then now the era we're in is like people are passing, their peoples are passing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
there's the answer. She is she's the
I knew she was. I knew she was.
Now you just said I wasn't sure what she was.
No, I wasn't sure. I knew she was a D9, but I thought she was a Delta. But I was,
No, it's all good. Listen, we'll work it out. But I think that's a crazy damn, I lost my thought, y'all.
About the phases of burying your parents, or
yes, it's wild because I've been through all those and been through all those, and then I'm definitely
So it's funny because I was thinking about like having my mom passed away in 2020, and I was actually talking to my brother about having some sort of like memorial or some sort of thing, like for my mother, who, by the way, my mother's birthday is tomorrow. And I was thinking about this in general because I still feel like there's part of me that hasn't really dealt with it because it was during the pandemic. So we had to have something small. We couldn't really have like, the traditional wake back then. So it was just a weird time when I think about it. Like, and that leads me to another quick thought. I don't think we really, as a society, understand how traumatic the pandemic was.
Yes.
Because I do feel like since the pandemic, and it's going to sound crazy, people are crazier. People give a F less. Like there's a lot that we haven't dealt with overall. And then when I think about those times, and again, going back to Facebook memories, you look at some of the stuff going on back then, you're like, I lived through this. This is wild.
Yep. Yeah. Right. I want to talk to so Ant, that's a great question. I want to get to that. Jigga also says, I appreciate you all. Appreciate you too, bro. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, bro. Thanks for always supporting.
Every week, multiple times a week. So appreciate you. All right, TC says, I think of mortality almost daily after losing my mom. It's like I'm next. So TC, I have those thoughts daily, sometimes multiple times a day, sometimes as well. It's very unnerving for me, but yeah, that's real, brother. So you're definitely in my prayers. I get it.
No, my wife gets mad at me. Like, we'll be somewhere. I'm like, yo, take this picture with me real quick. And then I'll say, like, this is going to be fire for my obituary. She's like, stop saying that. I'm like, no, I want good pictures for my obituary. Like, I do. I really do.
You do know that's traumatizing for her, right?
That's why I stopped doing it. But,
Thank you. Just take the picture. But I get why you're saying that, because putting together an obituary is a whole task in itself.
Listen, man, and also something that, and rest in peace to our sister Tracy. I think about since Tracy passed, because one of the things is Tracy was good for pictures and video, like, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, we
have so many memories, and and I've even told Liz this in person, like, yo, we gotta take these pics. Like when I see my people now, I want to take a picture with them because those are the memories, right? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I've seen people, man, and I ain't gonna name no names, man, but there's been people in my life who I was okay with them, but they were like kind of, I don't want to use the word curmudgeon, that may be triggering for Camari, but they were kind of like
very triggering for me, sir.
they were kind of
you Liz. Love you.
I went to this one gentleman's funeral. No lie. It was like 6 of us there. And this dude died in his 50s, which means that his family and friends were still around. And I'm like, yo, it's nobody here. And that shook me.
Wow.
And he was also one of those dudes that was hard to get along with, but we were okay, right? So I just wanted to pay my respects. I'm like, yo, it's nobody here. He had brothers and sisters that didn't show up, right? And skimpy little, like, funeral Joe. And I'm like, man, he lived a whole life, and this is the end result of it, right?
Well, that says a lot.
It does, right? And this is why, like, when we talk about wealth, we talk about it holistically, because your relationships are part of your wealth. I've been to funerals where someone may not have been the most wealthiest person, and they have thousands of, like, they gotta like shut the blocks down. I've seen that as well. So I've seen, kind of both sides of it. But I think when you go, it kind of, tells us. I mean, listen, when our sister just passed, they had to have hers at the Met.
Right. That yeah.
What's that tell you? You know who else has the Met? This is what people perform. That's what
Yeah.
Boys and Men performed at the Met, right? It's for people that are not from Philly who don't understand the magnitude of having something at the Met.
It's a major concert hall.
It's a concert hall. Tracy had to have hers at a concert hall. I've seen that, and I've seen a gentleman have like less than 10 people at his. So, and listen, your father packed the joint out. You couldn't even get in that joint.
Yeah, yeah, and now it's funny because I don't know if you went to I don't want to say no names. There was a funeral home that he originally wanted me to have it at because we had talked about all this stuff prior to.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, I want to do it at Faith Chapel. By the way, that is the church where we do our Saturday school as well. But I said, yeah, it'll be bigger. I know I didn't think it was going to be that many people. I was shocked to see that many people, but I'm glad I had made that call. Shoot, I probably could have tried to go for a bigger venue at that, but to have Pastor John do it meant a whole lot to me as well. So I was surprised at how many people showed up.
Yeah,
but
man. So
before we get too far along in this, I want to address this question. Is there any penalty for opting out of life insurance product? For example, term insurance. So that is really hard to answer that question. I will go at it on the merits. And the reason why I say it's hard is because I don't know who's being insured. I don't know who the beneficiary is, but I will share my perspective. Life insurance is a cheat code. I don't think we utilize it more in the right perspective. Forget buying this whole, IUL stuff. I mean, just having life insurance, term or whole life, whatever it may be, right? Having coverage. It's really, really great and can be used. So depending on the product, if you let it lapse or got rid of it, that means you might not have enough coverage. God forbid you get called home or you don't get to make it home that day, right? So then somebody might be exposed. Also, for some of the more cash heavy products, sometimes you have what's called surrender fees. And if you have cash in there and you don't pay the policy, you might experience what's called a surrender fee. And then sometimes if you have taken money out of the policy and you haven't paid it back, it might create a taxable event as well. So keep the policies, I would say, until you have all those questions answered. Here's a personal story. And I actually hate sharing the story. My father had a life insurance policy he couldn't surrender. Well, he couldn't surrender without the consent of my mother. And I've really talked a lot about this. My mother and father didn't talk much after their divorce in like 91. So my father used me as a middle person to go to my mother and say, I need to get out of this life insurance policy. My mom had to sign up for it. So my pop had to pay my mom to get out of this life insurance policy, which is so wild. But
that's a wild story, but shout for mom for being a G. Like, she like, look, what you gonna give me?
But I wish if I could do it all over again, I would have took over that policy. If I knew what I knew now, I would have took over that policy and I would have kept hanging on it.
Yeah. For me, I've seen all kinds of situations concerning life insurance. I always tell people to keep the policy if you can. Whatever you can do, keep the policy. Because I've seen people like opt out of policies and then later want to get another policy, and the rates, because obviously
health changes.
Dog, I got my life insurance policy at like 19. If I try to get that same insurance now, yeah. Anyway, I say all that to say, if you can, but again, that's one of those situations where it's so specific because what are all the other variables or factors going on in terms of that policy?
Gotcha. So Jigga says, I have a running joke. If y'all don't show up to my 80th born day party, that's y'all Mickey Dickey fault.
Listen, man, hopefully you have the 85th party. If you have an 85th party, we pulling up.
All right, Ann says, I have both, but I want to scrap the term to roll it over to, oh, okay, so that's more
that's a different variable. That's a whole different conversation.
This is why I say personal finance is personal, right? And that's a whole other thing. And so, Ann, I don't think that's necessarily bad. Again, I don't know your particulars, but salute to you for wanting to lock in that coverage. Because again, just for perspective, term policies only last for a short period of time. That period of time that is in your life, it could be 10 years, 10 years. I've even seen 30-year terms.
30-year term.
where you have the same coverage, the death benefit, you have the same premium. But then what happens is after you get out of that term and you want to keep the same level of coverage, the premiums tend to go up. That's happened once.
I made a shit ton of money selling 30-year terms, right? Because I had this whole marketing campaign, and because I was in real estate at the same time. I used to call them mortgage policies.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I go to cats who just got a 30-year mortgage, like, look, tie in this 30-year term with your mortgage. So if something happens to you, what you pay for your house? All right, let's get a term on that number. So
I always hated that though. I always hated that because usually when that happens, people don't consider the whole implication of death and what needs to happen outside of just the mortgage. But shout out to them for at least doing one piece of it, right? All right, so Liz is adult part of the housing event. I can't grab that link. I would definitely.
Yeah, I think that's for the housing event. I'm gonna check it out though.
Yeah, I would definitely share that too though. My old Earth returned at 50 and a half. So 51 is the real milestone for me. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
TC says it rocked my life. My grandparents lived longer age-wise than my mom. I took her longevity for granted. Yeah. I think we all to a certain degree. We collectively saw that our lives are not valuable or protected. We were seen as pieces of the chessboard. It's the lack of value of life. Yeah. But what's sad, y'all? That's been the case for hundreds of years, which to me enrages me. It's sad that we are not seen as human beings of value in any way, shape, or form. We're just, like I said, pieces on the chessboard.
No, just looking back at the pandemic as well. That was a very wicked time. A lot of older people passed alone with no visitors or family. I think people are still traumatized and restless, chaotic in the aftermath of the pandemic. Yeah, there was a wild. Looking back at it, it definitely was a wild time. But I mean, it's like anything else, though. You also saw the humanity and beauty in some people. Like I had people, look out for elders on the block, pull up, go grocery shopping for them. So you saw that part of it too.
Yep.
But I think overall, it's just like a wild. It's weird to look back on and realize that you lived through it. Like it's crazy. Sigh. Tracy's passing hit me differently in a lot of ways, especially due to the fact that we worked so hard for so much, and it's all still here when we are gone. That has changed a lot for me around a lot of things. Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree. I started thinking about my mortality in 2018 when my twin brother had a major stroke.
Whoa, your brother had a stroke? Wow.
See, that's the other thing too, though, right? Because I don't have the experience of having a twin. So it's not just that her brother had a stroke, that's her twin brother. So that's got to hit a little different too.
Absolutely.
Within the past 5 years, at least 20 friends and associates have returned. And it's all been mostly non-C19 modalities ranging from 35 to 49. I'm grateful having a debilitating stroke at 39. So Jamil's had a stroke at 39, but he's still with us. He's recovered and, he's made it to 50.
Salute to you, brother.
Man, congratulations on that.
I would love to talk to you about that because a lot of us are having strokes. Some are coming back, but I would love to know that story about what you had to do that.
I'm grateful. I gave the people I love their flowers while they were here, made peace where we had grievances or disagreements. A lot of it is petty or small.
You know, man, that is so important. Like, because listen, and I'm guilty of this, but we be having beef about the dumbest shit. It could be over a bag of chips or 3 pieces. And in Philly, we call it 3 pieces and some fries, 3 pieces of chicken and some fries and some SPK.
Absolutely.
And we won't get over that. We won't let that go. But at the end of the day, it's like, what does it even matter?
I had beef. I've told this before. I had beef with a family member for so long that I forgot what we was beefing about. Ain't talked to him in 20 years. But anyway, is the upfront cost of a basic whole life better than a term policy? Been hearing a lot of the IUL, even on ads, but they market it more of it as an investment product. So
the record, life insurance is not an investment. Yes, it might have some upside like an investment, but it is not an investment. Go ahead, Jimmy.
So my perspective is this, right? I'm not an insurance professional. You probably need to seek one, but what I will say is this, like from my perspective, and I have been an insurance professional.
Right, so you have credible perspective.
Yes, I've sold it all. I've sold VULs, IULs, whole life term, But the one thing I did is I made sure that whatever product that person had was right for that specific person, which is why I said speak to a professional. Because the fact is, I don't think there's a bad product. There's bad uses of said product. I think that's what it is, right? Because
there's no bad.
what I didn't like about the insurance business was the one size fits all approach that insurance people tend to take, where they say, if you're a term shop, I'm selling everybody term. If you sell whole life policies, everybody gets a whole life. If you sell IULs, everybody gets an IUL, right? So I don't like that aspect of it because those products can be great for the right person, but the one size fits all approach to me is what's most problematic in that space.
And so there's no bad products. There's only bad strategy or no strategy, which is bad strategy.
Yeah.
But so the upfront costs are basic whole life, right? So yes, whole life is more expensive than term. Basically, there are two major types of life insurance. You got term, which does not generate a cash value, and then you have cash value policies, which are your whole life, your IULs, your VULs, and they are different. But you got to understand what you're using it for. Term lasts for a certain period of time. Whole life lasts, they used to say in the industry, for your whole life. And that's the problems with that too, because usually all policies usually end at 99 years old, but nobody talks about that either.
That's a great point because, and I guess the assumption is most of us ain't making it out,
Right. Right. All right. Dave says, and you need to link with your rep of the company you have the policy with. That is a fact. That is a fact.
Yes. Great point. Shout to Dave, man. Dave, I actually mentioned you earlier in the show, Dave. Salute to you.
All right. Anton Daniels says most folks are fascinated at the amount of doors for ego, not necessarily ROI. Not saying that you, Camari, but that 10 free and clear combo needs to be had. Yes.
Listen, I don't know what Anton Daniels says, but Jimmy Williams has been saying that for about 25 years from my personal experience, that ego is crazy in real estate.
Facts. Dave says insurance companies have made insurance complicated so they have more products to sell. That's a fact.
Insurance and every other industry. That's
he ain't lying.
He is not lying. He is not lying. I look at Wall Street in general and see like how they come up with some of these derivative products, and it's like y'all be out here just cooking for no reason.
Well, it is a reason. They want profit. They want more money. Greed is good.
Greed works. Greed. I'm sorry. I was about to go through the whole speech, but I'm gonna
So all right, Jamel says.
All right, so I got it. It says, I've been thinking more about having children, being perceived as a young ass granddaddy by my future children's friends, and having to prep them to only spend 25, 30 years with them.
But listen, those 25, 30 years can be very powerful.
So, it's funny because I don't have any kids. You're a little bit older than me too, Jamil. I don't have any kids, but people, I'm going to tell you what it is. People be trying to shame me for not having kids, which is weird because I made the decision that, I got nieces and nephews. I get to spoil, give them all the sugar, and then send their ass home, right?
Listen, I don't see, man, I'm jealous of you. I think it was me and Liz. Me and Liz were saying we should make rich aunties and rich uncles the thing because that's what you're doing. Like, you've talked about this on the show. You said you set up a brokerage account for one of your nephews or a couple.
My 6-month-old nephew got a couple grand already, and he's 6 months old. Absolutely. The day he was born, he had his brokerage account.
I think that's dope. But I mean, if we start thinking more village minded, man, rich aunties and rich uncles, listen.
No, but I'm gonna tell you something. I had actual friends of mine like try to like shame me. They were like, with speaking like, my situation, like with all you guys have, like they was like, y'all don't want to have any kids. We're like, no. It's like, well, you should adopt some. I'm like, why? And they're like, well, because, and here's how they try to pitch it, right? All these black babies out here that need a home and blah. They try to like really shame me into saying that, you should, have a kid. I'm like,
so listen, that is true, but here's the thing that nobody ever talks about. Everybody shouldn't be a parent, and that's no diss to you and your wife. I'm just saying, like, it's a lot to be a parent. It shouldn't be a haphazard thing. It deserves a lot of thought. And listen, if you ain't, everybody not built for that life.
No, we made a decision because we like to get up and go and travel and do what we want to do. So we be out, right? And we made that decision that that's not part of our lifestyle. But when we want to, we have nieces and nephews we spoil and love, right? But people have literally tried to shame me about it, Liz says strokes are happening to us younger and younger and are fatal.
Yep.
We are stressed and we are not community connected like we need to be.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Gotta give the horns for that.
I need more education around life insurance sooner rather than later. I don't know why I'm procrastinating.
Well, let us know what questions you have. Again, both me and Jimmy have been life insurance licensed. I've had millions on the street. I'm sure Jimmy's had millions on the street, right? It is when you can say that, right? Outside of drug talk, right? We on these streets, y'all.
Yeah, you can say that about real estate and shit. Yeah, I got millions. I get you. Yeah. But no, I felt my own mortality in my mid. By the way, this is Dina. Shout out to Dina. Dina's a member of the village. What's up, Dina? How are you? I felt my own mortality in my mid-20s. Watched several close family members pass away. Depressing.
Yep.
This is why I've been determined to live life with purpose.
Salutes to you.
Man, salute. Yeah. Jamil says, I'm wondering if it's fair to have children in my 50s. I've always held off because of finances and a degree of immaturity. So his question is, do you think it's fair to have kids, and if you're 50 years old, do you think it's fair to the kids? That's the question. How you feel about that, Camari? You think it's fair?
No, so I think that goes back to the point I was just making, right? You got to think about it. And so to a certain degree, it is unfair, but it can be fair too, right? It all depends on the situation, right? And what you want to do. I'm going to tell you something. Kids who are raised by their grandparents, I think, are doper than ones who are not.
Yo, you stole my next point. I have
like
not just grandparents.
Older wisdom a lot of times is game changing.
Not just grandparents. And you literally just stole my point. That was what I was getting ready to say. Most of my friends that have older parents, they do lose them earlier than others, but they tend to be, and I wasn't going to say dopest, they tend to be the smartest people I know.
Or at least they have a better sense of life, right? Maybe dope was a little hyperbolic. They have a better sense of life. They have a deeper wisdom about white life. They have a deeper appreciation of people, places, and things than some of us who had younger parents. So
in my lived life experiences, my friends that have older parents are the smartest people I know. And maybe it's because their parents have time to help with education. I don't know what the thing is, but they tend to be. My smarter friends have older parents. That's what I say.
So here's the thing, and I talked to this because y'all know I was a teenage parent, right? And so talking to some of my cousins who had children at a young age, that first child kind of becomes the crash dummy. There is no manual for parenting. You don't know what's going on.
They call it test baby.
Yep, they definitely the test baby. But once you get up age and you become a little bit more still in life, more calm, more reserved, you understand wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, things are a little bit different. So
I see what you did there. You did. That's what you did there.
Shout out to the gods of the earth. But there is something to that because the grace you have, and these are generalizations, y'all, but the grace you have typically when you're older, I believe fits better with young children and helps to mold them better as youth. What was so funny, man?
I'm laughing at TC's comment, but he said not came from Menace to Society. The Lord's grace is with you, boy. And I'm sorry. Anyway,
wait a minute. Let's talk about that. Because while Kane's parented, by the way, I watched Menace to Society every day in the summer of 1993. That just shows how old I am.
Man, I cut school to go see it in the movies. Shout out to my man I killed. Me Kill, and PJ cut school to go see it. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
But in that instance of Menace to Society, right? Samuel L. Jackson was a motherfucker, y'all. He said, boy said, I'll pay your monkey ass when I feel like it. And he shot him. So that's what Kane was exposed to, right? So he was traumatized at an early age. So some trauma can't be overcome, y'all.
Yeah, so that is a great point, TC. It wasn't just that he was raised by his parents. He actually saw his father get shot down in cold blood in front of his face.
I'm mad that I could almost recite that movie line for line.
Oh, I was just getting ready to go crazy. The Lord's grace is with you, boy, and I want to let you know.
That might show a level of trauma that I probably shouldn't have experienced.
Liz says, man, Jimmy, preach, because I don't understand the issue not having children. I can bless my nieces and godchildren and my stressed out single parents with time and a break.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. Man, this went deeper than what we thought.
Listen, a great conversation, though. A great conversation. I love being the rich auntie, giving perspective and options for life. Do what makes sense for you and the children. Yeah, absolutely. And listen, and thank you because you brought your niece out to the camp this summer, right? That was super dope too.
Right.
If you can 100% dedicate the time and energy to pour into the child, then go for it. Make sure you're prepared to be raised in a way by the child. I think there's also something else I want to add to that too, Jamil. There are different levels of 52. Not 52, but 50 as well, right? And the reason I say that is because I know people that are 50 that they've lived a fast, hard life, and they're 50 shows, and there are people that are 50 that look like they're 35, right? So there's different levels of 50, and I'm not even talking about just from a physically fit standpoint, although that's part of it. I'm also talking about from a mental standpoint, a financial standpoint, and also an emotional standpoint. There's different levels of 50. I know a lot of 50-year-olds who about 17 in the head.
Right. So Jigga says, I worry about them harping on my transitioning, using it as a crutch for the rest of their lives. No disrespect, but I can't stand adults who harp on their parents' transition 10 to 15 years later. So
that's nuanced. That's a very nuanced comment.
Right, because grief does not end. It's forever. How it plays out, different ways. But I kind of get what you're saying too, Jamil, because I get people saying, well, they didn't teach us that in school, or my parents didn't teach us that in school. And so they want to use their parents as a scapegoat for them not learning the shit they need to learn to be good, productive citizens and live a full life. So at some point, you got to say, I'm an adult. I'm going to take responsibility. I'm going to do the very best I can and move forward.
Yeah. As a person with older parents, it's challenging once they're starting to decline in their function. So your older parent, you have to prepare financially and make sure there are certain resources available to support your children from when you can't work or be active. Yeah. So that's the thing. It's really about your situation, right? Listen, this is going to piss people off. I feel like even some younger people shouldn't be having kids, right? Some of y'all shouldn't say. I know people in poverty who have like 7 kids, and you keep having kids, and you can't take care of yourself, let alone 7 kids.
But it feels so good to be loved. Feels so good to be loved.
And then what tends to happen, and again, I don't want to generalize. That's why I got to watch what I say. But y'all breeding super predators. And it's not even their fault. Like sometimes it ain't their fault, because what you doing?
Did you say super predators?
Hey, listen, I got that from Hillary Clinton, man.
I was about to go there.
I got that from Hillary Clinton, man. Don't blame Hillary. No, but y'all be breeding super predators because you can't even afford to keep lights on, and you already got 5 kids, and you haven't. And again, I'm not generalizing, but I do know. Listen, I come from Philadelphia. I come from Germantown. I know people that live this way, right? To Camari's point, everybody shouldn't be a parent. Like, listen, I got another opinion too, right? You know how people always say, and it's not just dads, moms too. Such and such mom wasn't in their life, and their dad wasn't in life, and then their dad or mom, and you're like, you probably better off for it. That sounds crazy, but
it does sound crazy, but it's also a real thing too.
It's a real thing.
Trauma don't have no picks though, man.
At all. So you're right.
In that situation, the child is lost, but they can't conceptualize that. They don't understand that.
It's why I have empathy for the children though, because when I go into certain spaces and speak to kids, whether they're behind the walls or in juvenile detention centers, and I talk to them and I hear their story and they tell me about their family or where they come from, it's like, okay, I see how you ended up here, right? And it's because environment, and taking it back to the beginning of this episode, environment is so important. Right. And a lot of times, because of our ego and because we're not thinking about that, we're not thinking about 20, 30 years down the line. I think the fact that Jamil is even asking that question speaks to him because he's even thinking about whether it's fair.
He's thinking about it, at least he's thinking.
Yeah. The fact that you're thinking about it is a net positive for me because it shows that you care.
Correct. All right. Jamil says, when my order returned, Rico popped up in my mind. Ends not every day be. I'll be all right. Get some.
Yeah, see, you deal with it different. To me, but honestly, that's a trauma response too, though.
It is. All right, Nicole says my nephew uses my sister's death as a crutch. He is 41 and she passed away when she passed when he was 4. My mother raised him. Nicole, I don't think I knew that. Okay. Yeah, I mean, but again, man, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Life is so complicated because I couldn't imagine that happened to me at 4 because my whole life I'm wondering like what did I miss or what didn't I know, right?
Yeah.
So I could see that actually being a crutch, right? So it's difficult, man. Like, man, listen, man. Prayers to everybody out there, man. You know.
Yeah. So Jamil says I'm speaking more so on the emotional harping, not so much life lessons. Enjoy your time. Reflect on the memories. Apply the wisdom. Have more children. Live life. Make me proud. Don't harp. Yeah.
Got you, man. Yeah, and that's the thing about like people that deal with trauma or have trauma. It's difficult to tell people how to deal with it because we deal with things in different ways.
Yeah. It's funny, right? Talking about harping. I don't really feel I grieve my father's passing. I mean, he passed last year in December, but I don't think I should talk about it either, though, or don't want to talk, or I'm uncomfortable talking about it because I do feel like I might be harping, right?
No, you're not though. I just literally told you I haven't got with my mom. It was 2020.
I know.
My father passed in 97, and I still.
Yeah, but I'm sharing how I feel because
I got you.
But we are raised to be tough, handle business. You don't show feelings. You don't cry. No remorse. Just get it done. Nothing else.
You know, half of the shit I was told as a kid, I realized is crazy at this point. But I also understand. Me and you were having this conversation before we went on air. I understand why though, right?
Yeah, but it's not crazy.
Wisdom comes with age, man. Sometimes, and sometimes you live and you learn.
Yeah, a lot of shit we're taught those bullshit. It's beyond crazy. And a lot of times we got to be able to call. I just believe we got to call a thing because I think we waste. And not in this case, but I'm just saying like some of the information we have or had was just untruthful whatsoever. Not based in facts, not based on logic, not based in research. Again,
but it was passed down. It's passed down. But the reason it's passed down is
passed down trauma too.
It passed down trauma, but it comes from a place of love and fear. We talked about that, love and fear, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you these things because I want you to be protected as you go into this mean, evil world. But sometimes that can be debilitating. But I'm telling you these things because I love you and I care about your well-being, right? A lot of our parents just want us to live. They want us to be protected when we go outside. Mental illness. No one really talks about how certain women aren't wrapped tight and get caught up in baby mama cycle with men thinking it's love.
But actually, so I feel like you're kind of blaming the women there. Some of these dudes ain't wrapped tight either, right? It takes both of them a lot of times aren't wrapped tight. And what is that? Trauma bonding. A lot of people are trauma bonding.
That too. Yeah, that's too.
Of those children. That
reminds me of that tweet the girl put out one time, and she was dead serious. She was like, she was mad at her baby father for whatever reason. And she was like, and she said, "I'm so pissed. Sometimes I just wish we can choose our baby father." And everybody was like, "Duh, sis."
But you did choose him.
But you know what in the moment, you know what she meant though. Like, yeah. I wish he could be somebody, but like, duh. She went viral, but listen, you know they say that everybody is the main character. One day, you just hope never to be the main character on Twitter. Yeah, she became the main character that day.
What up, you average logical thinker? I ain't seen you in a minute. How you been? Hope you're well. All right, she says,
"Hey, how are you?"
Got to remember we were raised by boomers. I don't know what you mean by that, though.
In terms of the things that they put into us and why they did, right? So boomers have a way of looking at the world, right? What's that book? I was just reading a book about.
Every generation does, though.
They do. No, they do.
By the events that brought them up. So boomers went through Vietnam and sitting on the back of a bus and crack and all that stuff. So
I was just reading a book about the how, because we see the world different based upon the generations, how things are.
Yeah.
It's around here somewhere.
All right, so Liz says we are raised to keep our emotions to ourselves, but we are human. We are complex. We were taught everything from a place of trauma, facts, and conditioning from slavery or just the world. Let those feelings out so we can heal. Those are bars. Those are bars.
I couldn't find that book, but I just found this one. I know you read this one before, Camari.
No, I haven't read that one.
Really?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Did you get any value from it?
I get value from every book, man. As long as I can get one thing, yes.
What's the value you got from it?
Let me look at my notes. I keep notes in my book.
All right, so now this is turning from a market review show to a trauma show, now to a review show, y'all. We are doing everything.
One of the things I got from the book, I'm looking at the notes here. It talks about the idea of, it talks about Black consciousness and all that, but it also talks about the idea that sometimes we're not willing to meet people where they are. And one of our issues is not trying to meet people where they are. We
whole premise of NGE for the first place. I mean, that's what Father Allah or Clarence 13X really built that on a lot of times, right? Because he felt the nation was too hoity-toity and too prim and proper, and he wanted to be in the streets and drink reefer and
drink. He said drink reefer.
Right, smoke reefer and drink 40s with the folks, and spread knowledge with them as well. And
yeah,
I think when you do the NOI versus NGE thing and you look at it, one's the parent, the other's the child, and I get it. I get both aspects of it, and they're both right, in my opinion.
All right, how about this one? My last one. I'm gonna stop doing this, but you read this one?
So Anthony Broder is a G. I do believe I've read that. There was a bookstore in Charlemagne Mall.
Yes.
I can't remember the name of that store.
I believe that was a Black-owned store too, wasn't it?
It was. I can't.
That's where
I can't tell how much time I spent in that store, though.
Man.
And I was thinking about it because, again, Charlemagne Mall was right by my crib. So I've been reflecting just on my childhood. It's like I was really blessed.
I bought Powernomics from there as a kid. It changed my life. But I think I used to be there all the time because and some of y'all gonna relate to this. They had all the cliff notes for every book. What y'all know about the cliff notes? Y'all ain't about that cliff note. Like, you know about cliff notes, Camari?
No, I know about them. Oh, you know what? Where was this one at?
You know about cliff notes, man.
I just went down the rabbit hole, bro. But yeah, there's definitely cliff notes. There's cliff notes to books now, but they definitely had the cliff notes there as well. But I'm wondering, so my thought is, I'm wondering if where part of my love for bookstores came because of my experience growing up right by a Black-owned bookstore.
Interesting.
Right, because I never even thought about that until just now.
Look at this comment here. My parents didn't visit cemeteries or talk about ancestors much. But I visit cemeteries, ancestors anytime I get a chance. I make time.
So it's funny. I have just grown to the importance of understanding the importance of visiting cemeteries and ancestors. And before I did not. As a matter of fact, I just realized I haven't got my father's grave marker yet. I need to do that sooner than later.
I need to upgrade my father's joint, and my mother was cremated per her wishes, as were my grandparents, both of them, per their wishes. And it's funny because I actually have them, like, in the crib, but it's weird because as you get older, you get knowledge, you get wisdom, you get understanding. The whole 360.
Well,
and
I also want to build on an altar to my ancestors as well. So,
but it's funny because I've often talked about my grandmother being the most important person ever in my life. And it's weird how till this day, she still comes to me in various ways, like in dreams and different spaces. So, and that like helps me a lot because it, lets me know that like no one ever really dies, right? They live through you.
Spirit, but also energy doesn't die. So not trying to get super,
yeah, I mean, I'm about to find my kufi. This conversation took a turn. I gotta go get where my kufi at in this joint, man.
All right, so Jamel says, again, no disrespect to anybody. My observations are my own. Sometimes I think being on vacation made me indifferent. I've seen cats lose their entire bloodline and still have to finish their bid. Yeah. Yeah, man. Listen, that's a fact, man. And being on vacation or college, as some folks say, makes you see life in a whole different way.
It's funny because I'm looking for a specific book I can't find because I was trying to share it, but I just found my Yorugu book, and I couldn't find that the other day, but I just found my Yorugu book. That and Soul on Ice, which is another one.
All right, so let's do this, Jimmy. So I told you I've never really finished Urugu. I'm gonna go back and I did bits and pieces of it. I'm gonna go back and read it. We need to do a book review on that.
Oh, okay. So listen, maybe we can add that to oh, hold up. Somebody was probably putting this down with their book club. Who was it?
It was A Moore.
All right, we can reach out to A Moore and get that book club. So we could do a little personal joint with Yorugu. We can review it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Hold on one second. Let me see, because I think that. Hold on one second. I think that is it.
Because I remember reading the opening to it, and I was like, "Damn, this is spot on." All right, yeah, we read that one already. Sorry. All right, your average logical thinker says diversity is key. Love it, guys. All right, appreciate you as well.
Absolutely.
All right, Jigga says I was just asking about last week. What was his second book, and where is Prince AA Cuba at?
I'll be right back.
Where is Prince AA? Who is Prince AA? I'm not sure of that one. Y'all getting to see? I gotta clean up my studio, y'all. All right, Cliff Notes got me through Shakespeare. Listen, I am not a Shakespeare fan.
No, but that is exactly why I why I got the Cliff Notes. It was for Shakespeare. I hated Shakespeare. I was telling the kids yesterday, Shakespeare almost ruined my love for books.
Yeah, but going back now, some of the themes that were in Shakespeare are really powerful. So I'm thinking about going back and revisiting some of them. All right, Anthony Browder, have y'all read Blacked Out Through Whitewash by Shazza? I'm not sure.
No, I haven't. Let me take a picture of that too, because I'm going to add it to my. I love when y'all give me books, man. I appreciate y'all.
I don't. It makes me sick because then I got to go read something else.
No, but you know what though? If not for the people that watch our shows giving us book, we would have never discovered. We maybe it later, but we wouldn't have been put down with S.A. Cosby.
That's right. That's why I said I was joking.
But here we go. So, we got the body of work right here. The reason I know why you didn't get through this book, because look at this. This is not
listen. Jimmy's trying to show off because I showed my book the other day.
Hey, listen, man. So we gonna go through the text, man. I'm gonna start from the beginning.
We're not anti-intellectuals over here.
I see what you did there.
Your average logical thinker says, I just got my granny's grave marker last year. She died in 2015. I paid for her funeral and finally had the cash for the marker. Thank God. Yes. Salutes to you.
Also, I'm only sharing this with Jamil because this is his homie. I got this. I was looking at one of the biggest books. This is like one of the smallest books. This is It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar.
That's homie.
This is one of his homies.
That premise is right though. He is right on that.
You know what I'm saying? He gave me this in person to Jimmy by the hood. So, but that's your man though.
All right, so Jigga says that's a misconception about Allah, not Clarence Camari. He got kicked out because he didn't see Farad as the only Allah. And the NOI emphasized recruiting old ends. Yeah, but that was part of what I was talking about, right? A lot of times they were going for the old, strung out folks. The NGEs were going after the younger folks who are out in the streets.
So I think both of you are right. I think, again, it's like life. What you realize is things aren't black and white. There's nuance and context and everything. And it depends upon which text you read, because I've read his book or books about him. And I've heard multiple perspectives. And the answer to that question is really, it's a matter of perspective. It depends upon who you ask and how they see it. So
right.
Julius X is a rendition of Julius Caesar Shakespeare as Malcolm X. Whoa, I never heard of that one.
Okay.
Is that still playing?
Take a picture of that, Jim. We might have to look for that one.
Road Trip.
Yeah. But it's funny, right? Because Clarence was a disciple or mentee of Malcolm. And so I could absolutely see how Clarence formed that worldview and position as being a student of Malcolm in that way. And so I can see the beauty of what he's doing. I don't agree with everything, but I can see a lot of genius in what he was talking about.
You talk about Facebook memories. I want to take a picture of that, and one of my Facebook memories popped up when we were. It was one of the shows that me and Corey were doing, like a Friday live, and someone left a comment in the comment section, said, "Just want you to know I appreciate you. I'm watching this upstate road." So
wow. So can you put the picture up, Jimmy?
I'm gonna send it to you now, bro.
Those of y'all who are not from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, upstate road is where a big cluster of the newer prisons are.
Oh man, that's hilarious. It just popped up as I was doing that, man. Let me matter of fact, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna email this to you because
I want you to show it to the people.
I want you to show it because my I'm recording from my not. You know what I mean,
yeah, send it to me.
I got you, but yeah, man. So
that's dope, man. Because I know one thing. Listen, me and Jimmy argue about everything in love, jokes, and seriousness. But the one thing I believe we all agree on is that all Black people are our folks. And so
I agree.
You can be upstate road, you can be in the hoity-toityest of places. We are peoples, or at least we want to be people. Because some of y'all don't want to be peoples with us, though. Thing too.
Yeah, man.
All right, do you get Jim?
Oh, I was asking Jimmy about Brother Akil's second book. And Prince A. Cuba wrote Our Mecca is Harlem. I haven't read that. I haven't. Y'all got all the different, you know what I'm saying? Jamil, man, really was in these deep Black consciousness streets, man. I wouldn't be surprised if you used to be if you was in Philly, you was the joint up Black and Nobel. I used to go to Black and Nobel, right? And they used to have these debates. They would call them debates. And this is, man, years ago. I'm talking 15, 20 years ago. They would have these joints. And it occurred to me one day, like, these dudes, and they would have these crazy philosophical debates. The boy that got locked up for, doing nefarious things, he used to be in there.
But yeah, he was in there. Everybody was in Black and Nobel.
Dr. Umar, like all the quote unquote cats that made it on YouTube eventually, they used to all be in there. And I used to be sitting there. One day it occurred to me, I stopped going because it occurred to me like,
what are we doing?
That's exactly my thought.
We talking, what are we doing?
And that was cool, you know what I'm saying?
A place for that, right? You have to be able to talk and communicate, but at the end of the day, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
All right, so I asked y'all earlier, I wanted to share a piece of AI with y'all, and I wanted to get y'all opinion on it, and y'all tell me what y'all think. And should I use it or not? But tell me what y'all think about this.
Season isn't a season. It's a year-round strategy. Most people panic in April, scrambling for receipts they should have organized in January. Smart taxpayers, they plan ahead. Track expenses monthly. Maximize deductions quarterly. The IRS rewards preparation, punishes procrastination. Don't let Uncle Sam keep your money hostage. Be proactive, not reactive.
Oh my God.
Your future self will thank you.
All right, so what do y'all think? Should I use that or scrap that?
Yo, first of all, why you got on that "Why Did I Get Married" shirt on? Like, you say you out here looking like, what's going on, bro? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing, man? What are you trying to accomplish with that other than to get laughs?
So first of all, I mean, did you listen to the verbiage? Did you listen to the words, or did you just laugh at it the whole time? But
honestly, probably the latter.
All right, see, that's the problem. You focusing on the messenger, not the message. But shout out to Tyler Perry. I think "Why Did I Get Married" is a classic. So I'm glad that you said I had on that shirt.
Do you agree that sometimes the messenger can like mess with the message getting through? Like, sometimes
All right, so Liz says, but I need details on that video.
Oh my God.
Well, whose voice is that? So that is how AI interpreted my voice.
I gotta see how AI interprets my voice though, because that's wild. I had 8.5 years from 16 to 25 to read. I probably read over 350 books while on vacation.
Damn.
I'm glad that you used that time wisely, beloved, because I know
Yes.
people that done, time like that and they didn't read nothing.
Wow.
I had a homie who was on vacation, and he used to ask me to send him books. And I don't mind sending anybody books, but what's to piss me off is he only wanted to read books that were urban fiction, urban street lit. And I'm like, dude, that's why you're there in the first place. Like, can't you read something different? Read a biography or something. What we doing? You got a great radio voice, bro.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now, is that me or is that AI me? Which one are we talking about? We got to differentiate. All right.
It was a good message. I didn't know what the message was.
Because you wasn't listening, man. Come on. I need you to ascend to your higher self, brother. And all right. Nicole says I use AI to generate a headshot of me for work. Okay.
I'm actually waiting for him to send it to me now, man. Karan's supposed to be sending my new headshots. I got some new headshots done at the event we was at. Shout out to y'all who be having 25-year-old headshots on your LinkedIn, because some of y'all gotta chill. You ever see somebody's LinkedIn or their business card and you meet them in person and be like, really?
That's
really?
All right. James said you should do some animation work. Yeah, I'm told I should do animation voiceover work all the time. I'm actually thinking about experimenting with it.
Okay. And shout out to y'all Philly politicians who on y'all website, y'all got 35-year-old pictures too. Y'all need to chill.
Okay, Mons. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Also, Camari, what I did learn, you said something earlier about this. I learned this like talking to Karan. And when you try to get headshots, make sure you get someone that is able to work with a melanated person, because that's a whole skill set.
It's a whole skill
set.
Yeah.
And I learned that the hard way, y'all.
Yep. It's a whole skill set. Lighting is so tricky.
We have specific needs. Let's put it that way.
It's a whole art and science, though.
Yes. Anyway, man, listen. This has been an amazing show. We've been on here damn near 3 hours. We did a long show today.
At 2 hours and 21 minutes, man. You're exactly
21. I thought we was on 10 o'clock.
No, we got started a little bit late.
Oh yeah, you came late. That's right. You came late.
I didn't.
I was here at 10, y'all.
So all right. So Jim, you don't like my voiceover AI?
No, I think that that specific video was weird to me. Right? It didn't look. How can I put it? It looked too robotic a little bit. I mean, the picture was cool. I mean, it resembled you a little bit, but it was mad robotic.
All right. So Elizabeth says, how do I get into voiceover work? I'm really interested in this as a sidekick. So Liz, one thing you can do is you can read. Actually, Liz, you have a wonderful voice, by the way. But you can do auditions for a lot of the Audible books.
Yeah, what's that website? I forgot that website.
My own girl Nikki does a lot on that. I'll send you the stuff, but yeah, I forget the website.
Let me see. I might have it to save them up, because I actually went on there looking to have someone read my audio book, and then I stopped and I looked into a couple of auditions of people reading, because I was gonna have them read my audio book. And I stopped because I was watching a video and it was talking about you should read your own joints. Specific, they're not narrative.
Some people should, but some people shouldn't.
Like Bobby Brown.
No, actually, I think I would want to hear Bobby Brown read his.
Listen, Bobby Brown is who I think of when people say that, because I listened to his audio book. And first of all, his audio book is better than the actual book, because Bobby be in that joint sounding like, first of all, he was inebriated when he did it. He'd be stumbling over words. He'd be laughing. It's like a whole different experience of just reading the book.
I think Will Smith should definitely have read his book. I think it would have been a mistake to have somebody else read his book. But there's some TD Jakes books where he has other people read his book, and I'm just like, I can't get into it.
Yeah. So anyway, man.
Like I said, you got any Scheherazade Ali books, Jimmy?
I have read one. What was the one I read?
Smack your bitch up. That's a joke, y'all. That's a joke.
Yeah. Oh, I did get this book too. And I know he left because he's on live on TikTok right now, probably because he be on TikTok 24/7.
Yes,
but I got this book right here. It's called The Price of Silence by Tatiana Barnes. This is Shelby's daughter. And
I think I got that too.
You talk about village. Shelby's a member of the village. He said, yo, my daughter got a book. So what do?
Get it.
I cop it.
Absolutely.
That's what we do.
Leslie Jones reading her own book was fire. Yes. But I'm actually a fan of a lot of voiceover artists.
My favorite voiceover artist is a main man from First 48. He is fire. Like he does a lot of Ashley and Jaquavis books.
Nah, so Ashley Jaquavis usually uses that. What's her name? What's her name? I think it's a woman. Ashley. Let me pull up.
Dion Graham is who I'm speaking of. Look up Dion Graham. Dion Graham did some of their books. And Dion Graham is a brother, and he's the voice of First 48. He go crazy.
Carrie Height. Carrie Height does a lot.
Oh, Carrie Height is also super fire. He does a lot of Quan's books too, and them.
Yep.
But yeah, Dion Graham and Dion Graham price probably went up. That's why we joke that Carrie Height is like, if you can't afford Dion Graham, you get Carrie Height.
Oh, really?
So it's a joke. It's a joke because Dion Graham is that guy. Like his voice.
I gotta look him up. All right, Jamel said you can go on voiceover talent on Fiverr. Yeah, so here's the thing. People think it's just the voice. It's so many other things. You have to understand the voice. You got to understand the characters. So there's some acting to it as well. But there are, like, you kind of get typed by the type of voice you have as well.
Also, you got to be able to read. Just want to put that out there for everybody, because literacy rates are crazy, bro. There's a huge percentage of our folks that can't read.
Yeah, 50 is good reading his books. Yes.
Somebody got mad at me because I was online one day and I said that 50's bibliography is greater than his discography.
You might not be wrong though, because 50 only really has 2 good albums. They just been such smashes. But yeah, I think you have a point, bro. I
like it. I love 50's books though.
No, I think they were dope. I think they were dope. All right, y'all. So listen, we've been on here now almost 2.5 hours, as Jimmy said earlier. Always great spending time with y'all, but we got to go. I need some vittles and I need some more coffee. It's Sunday. I don't think I'm doing anything.
I'm going to sit back. Actually, now I got what I'm going to do. I'm going to have football in the background and I'm going to jump back into your Rugu from the beginning. I'm going from the beginning. And I told my brother I would read it with him. This, by the way, I'm going to let y'all know before we get out of here. This book is over 600 pages. Over 600 pages.
All right, real quick, really, what's the longest book you've ever read, Jimmy? Actually read, not listened to.
Was it I read one recently that was super long. I think it was called Goldfinch. I attempted to read War and Peace, but no. And maybe it's Urugu. Let me see, because Goldfinch, let's see. No, Goldfinch was longer. Goldfinch was close to 800 pages.
And thing about books though too, because when you play with the font, it changes the page number. Because like I believe the longest book I've ever read is Atlas Shrugged.
I have read Atlas Shrugged too. I forgot about that. How many pages is that?
It's a lot, but it's also like a smaller font also. So
that's true too.
And it's like, damn, if you put this joint in like a decent font of 12 or 14, that joint might be 2,000, 3,000 pages.
No, actually, Atlas Shrugged is 1,168 pages. So Atlas Shrugged is longer than Goldfinch and Urugu, by the way. There's a huge book that I've read, but I haven't completed. I put it like this: you ever read a book and you realize I read this book, but I didn't really fully
yeah.
Because you get to the point where the book is so long, you're just like going through the motions. So I've been reading it for a while. It's the book. Matter of fact, they made a movie about it. It's called something Brooklyn. It's about the gentleman who was in charge of building up New York. And he was like a low-key gangster, but he really wasn't a gangster. He was really a city employee, but he uses political connections. What you say?
But he was a gangster.
Yeah. His name was Robert. Let me see. I'm gonna find it for you real fast. I want you to know the name of this book.
No, but as you're
Robert Moses was his name.
Okay. As you're reading that, Jamel asked the question, Jimmy, you never shared the Philly game experience with your nephews from a business and real estate perspective. What was their takeaways?
Real quick, Robert Moses. It's called The Power Broker is the name of his book. The Power Broker. Let me see how many pages that is.
Oh, I thought you was going to talk about Tammany Hall.
Page length. Let me see. Is all right. So I didn't finish that one because I got to go back. That one actually is 1,344 pages.
And what's it called?
The Power Broker. And it's crazy because I said, you know what? This time I'm gonna go back and get it because I got the physical book. I said, let me get it on Audible. Audible joint like 30 hours. So even that's intimidating. Jimmy, you never shared the Philly game experience with your nephews from a business and real estate perspective. What were the takeaways? I'm glad you said that because you actually just gave me some content for my next episode of the pod that I'm gonna do. But I'll tell you briefly that I have a young nephew who's like 10 years old, and I was telling Camari and Corey, we were at lunch yesterday, and I told him this. I was like, it's funny because he was having a time of his life. It's his first Eagles game, and he loves the Eagles. And it occurred to me in that moment, because he was born in 2016, that he only knows the Eagles as as winners, right? The Eagles won a bowl in 2018, then they won it again last year. So for him, the Eagles are like everything. And what made his day is we had great seats, but we walked down to where like they're practicing, and like you're like right, the players are there, you're right next to them, what have you. And Saquon Barkley spoke to him, and he almost fainted as if it was Michael Jackson, and that was worth the price of the ticket right there. So he'll never forget that. Like, shout to Saquon too, because you know, for him, he's just speaking to fans and kids, but for some people, he has no idea what that meant. That was everything to him. He felt like he just, met Michael Jackson. So that was super dope. From a real estate experience, I'm always trying to teach. So I'm telling him as we're there, like, hey, this is still real estate. Look at all the money being made. They did this thing where they did like a raffle, and they put the money in, and then certain part goes to charity, certain part goes to the person that wins it, and there's 70,000 people there, and they were selling raffle tickets for like $5 or something, and the pot got to like over $600,000, where the person wins like 300,000, and the other half goes to charity. And I'm like, the way they're able to raise capital by grouping people together is very, very interesting. Second to Disney World though is in a class by itself. You talk about pure commerce and real estate and retail. My experience at Disney just this past year was completely different. Going to Disney as an adult is different than going to Disney as a kid, because you get to see the business of Disney. So, but thanks for the question though, Jamil. But the game overall, they had a ball. And again, when Saquon spoke to him, dog, like he freaked out, and it was super dope. So that was amazing. But thank you for the question. Kamar, you over there working on something. What you about to do, bro? Did you get the email I sent you on with the joint?
Oh, you sent me? I was waiting on the text.
No, I sent you an email. I figured email is easier since you on the computer.
Yeah, give me a second. So the Power Broker, right?
Yes.
So these are the top 10 takeaways from the Power Broker. Power doesn't always come from the ballot box. Institutional design matters. Ambition plus capacity equals transformation. The ends and means are inseparable. Urban planning is political. We know that to be a goddamn fact. Unchecked power distorts policy. Damn, that's true. Legacies are complicated. The fall of power is instructive as the rise. The fall of power is as instructive as the rise of power. That's true.
The book is not necessarily based on the movie. Is not based on this book. Okay, I'm sorry.
Leverage and alliances matter. That's facts. We still live with the consequences today. Yeah, I'm gonna read this. No,
the book is super dope. I just didn't get it because it was so long, but what I did was I ended up watching the movie, and I was like, I gotta go back and watch this. But I have the book now on Audible because I'm gonna try the Audible version. But he was a city planner.
I just ran it through Chatty G.
Okay, he was a city planner, and they say that he was the most powerful person in the city, although he literally had a job as a city planner. But he was so connected in different spaces, whether that was the underworld, all the politicians, and he knew how to get to the bag. So, with that being said, Motherless Brooklyn is a movie that has him as a character. And
Motherless Brooklyn,
and that has Ed Norton, and
that's a book.
Yeah, Motherless Brooklyn was the movie. It's a pretty good movie too.
All right, so this is the summary. This book chronicles the life and career of Robert Moses, a man who never held elected office yet became arguably the most powerful figure shaping New York City and New York State in the mid-20th century. Carl lays out how Moses rose from a reform-minded young man into a technocrat builder whose vision and ego remade parks, roads, bridges, housing, highways. Along the way, he created institutional vehicles, public authorities, commissions that bypass normal democratic authority. But the book also shows the cost, displaced communities, neighborhoods destroyed for highways. Damn, that sounds like Tulsa, Oklahoma. Power accrued without sufficient checks, and ultimately a fall, or at least a diminution of power. Carlos style, exhaustive research, vivid stories, a moral lens. He doesn't just describe what Moses built. He acts as what it means when one holds so much power.
Listen,
yeah, I gotta check this joint out.
And Alec Baldwin bodied it. Alec Baldwin plays him in Motherless Brooklyn, and he bodied that. So it's he listen, the bro has superpower, like in terms of like politically and all that. And that was the thing. He was never elected to office, and he was behind the scenes. You know, like they say in the 48 laws, like you know, the 48 laws tell you that, you know, sometimes being the face of it ain't the thing, you know.
It is not. It is not.
And that's an example of that. But it's also a black wealth story because like some of the decisions he made had an adverse effect on certain people. But it was, you know, yeah, man. So yeah, Motherless Brooklyn was the name of the movie. The Power Broker is the book, but that might be the book that's the longest to answer that question, Camari.
All right, so Jimmy, I got the email. I got it. Let's try it and let's rate it 1 through 10. Second, y'all. But yo, this is powerful. I love this. I love this picture, man. I love this documentation, right? It's wild. So that's Jimmy on one side with a wild Jordan, Corey and others. But then we got Jay watching from State Road, CFCF. So CFCF is one of the newer correctional facilities that was built in the county of Philadelphia. Because people don't realize Philadelphia is a county and a city, y'all.
Yes.
But yeah, that's wild. That's wild. But that's
hey, man, you never know, man. Listen.
You know what y'all were talking about.
The internet is a beautiful thing at times, man. Like I'll never forget when we had kids in our summer camp and we did it online from Africa. That was like a game changer. Also, I'll never forget that we had a gentleman show up to our first Saturday school who showed up based on a YouTube video. In fact, it wasn't even a YouTube video. It was a YouTube short. He pulled up to our Saturday school. He said he discovered us from a YouTube short.
Oh, yes, the brother that talked about Bitcoin. Yeah,
YouTube short. He saw a YouTube short and was like, "Oh, I like what they're doing." He came and supported us. So,
yeah,
I mean, the internet is a powerful thing, bro.
So, Jay says, y'all realize some of the youngins have no idea what the 1900s are like, especially the golden years of 80 to 99. That's crazy.
I think about the fact that you could be born in 2020, and that means that you are 25 years old right now.
Yep. And so,
I mean, 2000. I'm sorry, 2000. But the fact that you were born in 2000 and you're a grown ass adult.
So, but to Jigga's point, right? A lot of people don't think about that. And I know a lot of times I talk about it because I grew up during the crack era, and it had a profound impact on me. So much so, I talk about it all the time. And one young lady was like, "I didn't know it was that bad." I said, "You have no idea. You have no idea."
And for me, I didn't know it was that bad either, even though I grew up in it, and I understand the traumas of it. But like sometimes when you're in it, it's your reality.
Correct.
So you get older and you realize like that shit is foul.
Yeah. No cordless phones, MTV, TV guides, calling the time or information, high tops, French rolls, CDs, Walkmans, Kenwood pullouts, beepers, rhinestone jacket. Listen, so Jimmy, real quick, y'all. I showed my wife a picture of Jimmy and Monica the other day, and they had on matching outfits. My wife got mad at me. I said, "Yo, these are couple goals." Well, we get some matching stuff. Not matching coordinated.
Listen, man. I told the wife, I said, we go to this event, we're gonna go pull up, get some fresh Dianu, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout to Dianu.
Hold on. I said we need rhinestone jackets and TI sweatsuits with airbrushes on them of ourselves. That's what I'm talking about.
I was just telling somebody a story about the time that I saved up some money. I went down Germantown Ave, to the Army Navy store on Germantown Ave, and I spent all this bread I had, and I caught me some used jeans, right? not used as an already worn, but used as in a brand used jeans.
I forgot about those. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And I brought them back to the crib. And my mom said, so hold up. They got cuts in them and they're called used. You pay somebody to give you jeans called used.
You Libyans are paying for cutout stonewashed jeans.
Yo, I think the most angriest my mom has ever been mad at me is, and this is my own money, by the way. At the time I was working, I was still living with my mom, and I saved up this bread. I went to Vazuri's on Germantown Avenue, and I caught me a Versace head belt, and I paid like $5 and some change for it. Right?
Yeah, as a parent, I'll be mad too.
She was so mad. She was like, hold up. You bought a belt, not a jacket, not a coat, not a shirt. You bought a belt for $500.
Yeah. Libyan, are you crazy?
My mom was so mad at me. You know how much I gotta work to get it. I'm like, it's my money though. That don't matter. You know what? She said, you know what you need? You need more of these bills.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man. So, anyway, so
she started making a bill?
Right, yeah.
What bill?
I had party electricity and I had to pay the full cable bill.
Yeah, because
she gave me some bills on that. She was so mad. In terms of like, just growing up. I don't think I've done dumb. I mean, listen, I'm a kid. I've done dumb stuff, but I think that's the mad. It's like when she saw me spend $5 and some change on a belt.
She's like, yo, you wasting your blessing, so you got to help out around this.
I ain't gonna front though, like that. You know what I mean? But when the hood booger saw the belt though, it was worth it.
Oh my god.
I mean, these weren't quality women back then, because if you're moved by a belt, then you're not a quality. I'm just being honest. Like, I'm being honest with y'all. I'm telling this story, so I'm being honest.
Youth, man, don't judge the youth.
Shout out to all them though, you know what I mean? Because some of y'all still my Facebook friends, but I digress.
Right, you know how many bills she could have paid with $500 plus?
Listen, I was a kid, and plus I was working my own gig. I figured like I could spend my own money when I want to, and that's what I told her. She was like, "Yeah, but it's within reason. You still got to be smart about it." I'm like, I work for this though. Like, I ain't asked you to buy it. I bought it.
But also though, right? What would have happened if you said, "Mom, I made this money. Can I help pay a bill?" Versus you wouldn't pay for the belt and then showed her. So,
hey, listen, man, I'm not perfect. It's a live life experience. It's also a black wealth story.
It is. It absolutely is.
You know, like these fake people be saying on LLC Twitter. What if I would have put that in some stock?
Yeah, you know what? So we need to do a show on that, man, because from the generational wealth conversation, listen, we talk about generational wealth all the time, but I feel like people want to buy all these things, and it's low key masquerading as consumerism. We need to talk about that, man. Our kids don't need more bullshit. They need more experiences.
No, it's true. Because and the thing is, it's something that you deal with all the time, right? So, like I told you, my nephew stayed over last night. Both of them, my 6-month-old and then my 10-year-old, they both stayed over. You know, we let their parents get a little bit of respite.
That party at Jimmy's crib.
So I was playing Madden. One of my nephews brought his PS over. I was playing Madden with him yesterday, and I was sitting there like, you know what? Maybe I should buy me a PlayStation. Because this was fun. Like, it was fun when he brought over to play Madden. I started buy me a PlayStation. You know what I mean? It's something to do. And then I'm sitting there like, that's so stupid. Because I know what's going to happen. If I went and bought one tomorrow. So I bought a PlayStation 4 before. Because kind of the same thing kind of happened before. I ain't going to play it. But to your point.
But the kids.
Yeah, but they have their own. He always brings his own when he comes. So it's like, what's the point of me paying for one and having it here all the time, right? But the point I'm making is this. Consumerism is a drug, right? And it's also why, like, even when it comes to food can be an addiction too. The difference between like consumerism and food versus like, say Fetty Wap or all those other things is that you need food to live, right? And you have to consume things to live. But it's that difference between just going so far out that you want to buy and buy and buy things and not invest and not produce. But it's a very difficult thing though, because we're fighting consumerism 24/7, 365. Y'all guys are watching us. Some of y'all watching us, especially if you're watching the replay, you probably got ads flying through that, that just fly through. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You go online, you scroll on social media. You might be going on social media just to look up some clips of, whatever's going on, and you're going to have ads. Consumerism, bro, is difficult. But to your point, a lot of consumerism is really like trauma that we're trying to heal by buying things.
A lot of it is, but you got to heal from the trauma first. If not, consumerism takes hold in a really wicked way. It's like crack.
Yeah, man, you buy it, you feel good for that second, and then once it's gone, it's like whatever you bought it to hide from, you're still there.
Yep, you got that one hit, and it's like, oh shit, I gotta go back to work. I gotta go back.
Yeah, now I gotta go buy something else.
I gotta go back to my wife or my husband.
Yeah,
I
man.
go back to these bills. Shoot. But all right, y'all, 2 hours, 45 minutes. We getting off here.
Yeah.
Until
All
next,
right, y'all.
y'all have a great day. Y'all stay great.
Love y'all. Please stay safe out there. We'll see y'all later this week on Friday. Peace.